Hey everybody, how's everything going? It's Thursday night. Don't have a whole lot going on. Ready for the weekend to begin. Looks like we got a couple people in the house. Functional Histories and Junkers Clunkers. Hello, how's everything going? I did put a link in there if anybody would like to join. Don't really have anything planned tonight. Turbo Tom, how are you doing? Still getting used to my office setup, everything like that. We got UP in the house. We got Auto Salvage Outlaws. Levi's Backyard Performance. What is going on, Dylan? Yeah, I just wanted to have an open mic. See what everyone's got going on. Coming up for the weekend. What builds you got going on. Anything and everything is on topic tonight. And we got the Mr. John Cope in the house. Yes, the Street Squirrel. Soon to get a C6 Squirrel-matic Ford transmission. Dougster Wolverine is in the house. Yes, technically, you were first. What's going on, Don? Twisted Mopar Garage. Hello, everybody. It is absolutely Thursday night. I am so glad tomorrow is Friday. I do have tomorrow off, although I won't be staying up too late. Gonna go work on the dragster tomorrow. Jimmy and I have some very intricate work going on with the chassis. Got to get it right, otherwise might as well burn the fucker to the ground at that point. But hello, Colleen. How you doing? But yeah, tomorrow is literally going to be dragster. It's probably going to be dragster all weekend. I bet you I put in 40 hours this weekend on that thing. Hey, we got Russell from Outfits Garage. Yeah, Dougster, funny, I have tomorrow off too. That's kind of a funny story. So I'm taking the Street Squirrel, my Thunderbird, up to John's. Hello, Jason. And what's going to happen is him and I are going to build a transmission for it. I got confused on my weekends. There's a lot of people I know named John, and I had stuff written down. I had the wrong freaking date. So Doug's going to meet us over there to do that, and I had the wrong weekend. I literally told him it was tomorrow, and it's actually next Friday. So expect some content in a week and a half on the Squirrel-matic transmission. Built by the John Cope of Indiana, formerly of Chicago. Levi, we just dropped the engine off to the machine shop. Hopefully it cleans up at 10,000 pistons are going to be the most expensive part of the engine, also the only new part inside of it. Are you going to have that all balanced, Levi? Oh, we got Mr. Wilburn in the house. I can't wait to get the new transmission done in my car. It's going to be so nice having a trans brake, lower planetary gears. It's going to match well with the 48s I'm putting in it. It is going to be a whole lot of fun. Functional History builds Brat Fink, Frankenstein C20, 5 Biscaynes, a Corvette, the Dick Landy Duster. There's a bunch. They're all small, but it's a lot of builds. That is a lot of work, and you do a good job doing it. But yeah, it's just been one of those busy days. Levi says I'm going to do my best. It's going to be as balanced as my life in 2024. Yeah, we all got pretty balanced lives in 2024. Hopefully that changes though later on in 2024, because I am getting sick and tired of all of our fucking money going everywhere but us, and we're paying for it, and we pay out the ass for everything. Everyone here does a really good job working on their projects, scrimping, all that type of fun stuff. We're paying way too much money for everything. I went to the grocery store today just to pick up a few odds and ends, and sometimes you're like, oh man, I really want a steak, and you're looking at the price of steak. Now you have that same look of price of steak 5 years ago as you do now on hamburger. It's pretty fucking pathetic if you ask me. Junker, my storage unit where I keep my rigs for the winter just gave me an eviction notice today. There's been a hole in the roof for a long time, and I've been complaining so they don't want to fix it. That's absolutely pure hot rotten garbage. I would be pissed. Hell, hot dogs are very expensive depending where you go. Yeah, that is true. You go to Portillo's, and I love Portillo's. It's what fuels me. And a 2 Chicago-style hot dog meal with a small drink and fries, I know the price comes out to $14, $15, or no, $15, $14, sorry. That's for one person. Yeah, Doug, 2 ribeyes, $32. That seems like a deal nowadays. My dog's barking at me. Give me 1 second. Sorry about that. I've got a really protective dog over my shoulder here. That's Rebel. He's half lab, half pit. He's a good guy, but he does not. Oh, hear him? He's grumbling at me. Jason, I remember 5 years ago saying the Girl Scout cookies got stupid expensive, now $5 a box. They seem like steel. Yeah, exactly. Everything is just through the roof. Gas is going back up. Notice that. Absolutely insane. We got Lars in the house. I wonder what Lars looks like without a beard. He could pull off any crime. All he'd have to do is shave his beard off and his hair, and he could do anything for a day. Yeah, you are very now in the middle of winter, Junkers Clunkers. What are you doing, Rebel? Relax. But yeah, it's just been busy. Oh, it's okay. My dog is very, 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 like, all about being with me or my daughter all the time. Stormtrooper, new guy, how's it going? I'm glad I cut the pig out of my diet. Man, there's not much we can cut more out of it, you know? It's pretty crazy. Yes, if the person we want to win doesn't, there's going to be some huge problems, not even with the economy. Yeah, you're right. You're right. What we have going on at the border, absolutely, absolutely appalling. Absolutely appalling. It's insane. Reading some stuff on that today. I mean, I come from a law enforcement family, and when you see, you know, what they're calling migrants, no, they're illegals. Let's just call them what they are. I am first generation American. My mom is an immigrant. My whole family was. That's what a migrant is. That is what that's that. But people coming across here illegally is crazy. Jason's Garage, how's it going? But when you see that type of shit and they call them migrants, no, they're not fucking migrants. They're coming across the border illegally. That's a crime. And you see what they did, you know, beating up on cops. Let that dude out on no bail. He just got arrested again for assault and, you know, robbery. It's like, yep, that's what we're inviting. Yeah, outfits, we buy the whole ribeye and have a butcher cut it up. I do that with pork loins. I'll buy a whole pork loin and then I'll cut it up into pork chops. Functional histories. The vegetabilists are only going to win for so long before they're crushed. Yes. NSB, howdy, Jeff, and everyone driving to Tennessee. Oh, you're driving to Tennessee. Nice. Levi, hell, even Democrats are calling for the legal aliens. Heard it yesterday. It was awesome hearing them eat their crow. Yeah, actually it is. It's absolutely. But we need to have a party in power that's actually going to do something, you know, like literally do something. We have a bill that comes out that's a border bill, and it's nothing to do with the fucking border. All it did was expand people to be able to come in here faster and get asylum faster. It's like, no, that's bullshit. Yes, Colleen, I did see Busted Radio Garage's post. We do have competition. I've been kind of talking to him offline a little bit, so that's going to be a whole lot of fun. Nathan's Mopar Garage is in the house. Yeah, you know what? I tell you what, Levi, I would love to live in Indiana in a state like that, but unfortunately I'm dead center in this communist hellhole. It's pretty bad. No, this is not beer because I don't drink. This is a Sprecker's Honeycrisp Apple Fire Brewed Craft Soda. Actually, doesn't taste too bad. But yeah, there's a lot going on in the world today, and everyone needs to be able to afford what's going on, and everyone needs to be safe doing it. And unfortunately, right now, that's not always the case. Yeah, Russell from Outfits Garage, looking at the WHO is planning to take over. Yeah, I read all that, and I have been for a really long time. And it's pretty scary that we allow foreign, if you want to just call them agencies, dictate a lot what we do. And it's bullshit. You look at here in America, what all these bureaucrats that aren't elected, what they get away with. It's pretty crazy. Hey, what's up, Jeffrey?
Fine.
How was basketball?
Fine.
Come here real quick. Okay, there's my son. He needs a haircut.
I just got one.
Look at him. He needs a haircut. No, functional. When I say communist hellhole, it's Illinois. Hey, it's Ice Spider Garage. How you doing? Yeah, you're right. Indiana is awesome. I like warm weather, so if I had somewhere to go, I really like Florida. I like Louisiana. I like the whole Gulf Coast. It's a lot of fun. Dean. Did I miss Dean? I must have missed Dean. Well, if Dean's in here, Dean's in here. Yeah. So yeah, if anybody wants to join, I'll go ahead and put the link back in there. I'm not going to be on super late tonight. It's been one of those days. By the way, if you look at my banner, I said bear with me. For some reason, my laptop freezes. I have no idea. It only happens when I'm doing anything StreamYard related. Anytime other than that, it's perfectly fine. Editing, doing my work, everything's fine. But yeah, we had a nice day today. First time seeing the sun in a damn week. Yeah, same here. It was actually unseasonably warm, but it sounds like we might be getting a little bit of snow tomorrow. I'm looking forward to working on my dragster, getting some of the really hard shit out of the way, and then going on and working on some other stuff. Really looking forward to going to Copes next weekend. That's going to be a blast. I owe him dinner because we had a drag race bet at the No Name Nationals. I had a forfeit, so I owe him. Jason, I had to go to Fibonoi today. Yeah, I had PTSD for a few hours once I got back. You probably had a broken back, too, from all the potholes. Yeah, Levi, Philly is horrible. I used to have to go there, and it used to be a really good place to go. Aurelio's Pizza. Yes, John, I can't wait to try that. I cannot wait. Yes, say no to snow. It is, it's always a lot of fun, though, getting to new places, eating good food, especially with friends. John and I and Jimmy, a month or so ago, ate at this little kind of bar and grill type place that was really good, and that was nice. No snow to 7 inches in 4 hours. Yeah, that sucks. Really sucks. That really sucks. We've had a lot of rain this year, which is good. I live in farm country, so it's always nice having that, but I have a feeling we're going to get a blast of snow one of these days. Dougster, Super 6. We need no snow nor rain. Yeah, you guys have been getting hammered down that way. Normally, Lee is the one that's on lives. He can type faster. I'm not currently doing any typing. It's kind of nice. I was typing all day with crap. Absolute crap. But yeah, I just got a lot of projects going on. Usually I'm a week and a half out of content, and I don't have that right now. We've been working on a friend of mine's Chevelle, one of the Chevelles, and had some wrong parts, which is fine, so we got to wait on that. And just a whole bunch of life stuff going on. So yeah, it's just been pretty busy. Been pretty busy. But yeah, I can't wait, though, to have that trans brake in my car, get everything changed up the way I want it, and just go out there and beat on it. I think that's going to be fun. And that car's not done either, because I have a feeling before it hits any drag strip this year, it will be wearing a new paint job. I'm kind of funny like that, because I'm going to want my dragster and my car to match. I'm just weird like that. I believe in the showmanship side of things, and going back to 60s and 70s with stuff, and I have a feeling I'm going to be painting both of them to match. So the bird might have some heavy metal flake going on. We shall see. I'm really hoping so, which will be fun. Looking at the weather right now, and it looks like it could start after midnight. This week, though, work-wise, was not too bad, kind of busy. Glad it's going to be over. Levi's backyard performance, going from trans brake to foot brake in my car literally drops a whole second with the same boost ramp. Yeah, I'm going to be really interested in seeing it with my car. Foot braking it, I wasn't really coming up high on the converter. It wanted to push through, so we'll see what happens. Jason, the bird will be your tow rig? Absolutely not. Because it's going to have 488 gears. The planetary gears are going to be much lower, and it's 521 cubic inches and drinks really expensive fuel. So no, definitely will not be a tow rig. Got to figure out how I'm going to tow both cars, but that's neither here nor there right now. More metal flake than a bass boat. Low riders will be envious. Yes, you know where I'm going with that, Doug. Automotive Carnage, a friend of mine from down under. You guys got to check out his channel. He does some really, really, really awesome stuff. Kind of lives out in the middle of nowhere. We always sit here as Americans going, man, we want to get our hands on a Hemi, 265 straight six. Well, this guy's got them. This guy's got access to all that stuff. It is good hearing from you, buddy. Not too bad. Not too bad. It's. I'm just going to answer his question. We're getting out of winter, kind of, maybe, and it's starting to look up for weather-wise, and the days are getting longer, so that is always a blessing. In fact, what I'm going to do, if I can figure this out, I am absolutely horrible at YouTube technology. I know that sounds weird, but geez Louise. I'm going to try to do something real quick if I don't fuck everything up. Okay, let's see here. I am going to try something. Well, what the absolute fuck. There we go. I'm going to copy that. And I'm going to put a link in here to his channel because he's a very good guy and he does some very cool stuff. Levi says he wants to give me a fight for low ET. I'm going to be lucky to show up. You'll make it. You'll absolutely make it. I'm not going big cubic inches on that thing. It's probably just going to be 302 cubic inches. Nothing crazy. Don't want to do anything crazy. Uh-oh. We have a guest. Adding to stage, Mr. John Cope. How you doing?
What's up, brother?
Not a whole lot. Just doing my thing. How are you doing?
You look lonely, so I thought I'd jump in.
It's been a lonely week. It's been an absolute lonely week. It's been kind of a. Well, I'm surrounded by all my friends. Just joking. I'm digging the office, John. I just haven't gotten used to it.
It looks good.
Which is weird. Thank you.
What is that? That globe thing flickering over there on the table?
That is the. Oh, let me see if I can find it. It's my head. It's the moon. And it glows.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. See, it's funny because I got some stuff in my office and I got to get more of it out because, like, I'm big into NASA, the Apollo era. Like, absolutely huge into the Apollo era NASA stuff. Levi, we're going to have that race, by the way. I'm big into the Apollo era stuff. Like, that to me is more fascinating than what GM did with cars. I know that sounds so weird, but I think it's just amazing what they did with the Apollo stuff.
Right.
And, I've got a lot of that stuff. I read a lot of that stuff. A fellow guy that actually came to the first No Name Nationals to participate or to watch, he builds really cool rat rods. And he's building a wine barrel hot rod. And, like, I think he worked on a lot of that stuff back then. And I've been down, seeing all that stuff. John, like the Museum of Science and Industry, they had their 50th anniversary. I think that stuff's really awesome.
I see you more and more videos pop in like through your feed and stuff about that. Never even going down after all these years.
Yeah. So, how old are you, John? You would have had to have remembered some of the later Apollo stuff, wouldn't you have?
I am going to be 59 this year in May, but I don't recall any of that stuff on TV.
Yeah.
I can't. I remember more of the space shuttle stuff than I do that.
I remember all the space shuttle stuff when I was a kid. Obviously, the Challenger disaster really sucked watching on TV in like kindergarten. But I don't know.
Were in
You know what?
kindergarten when that happened?
Yeah, kindergarten or first grade. Yeah,
I was already working full time at a transmission shop. That's where I was at when it blew up.
I was this tall.
Well, you're still that tall, but
I know. Well,
I won't hold it against you.
I'd be a lot taller if I had hair. But what really got me, I think, into the NASA stuff, I was at my grandparents' a lot as a kid, and one of my favorite shows was I Dream of Jeannie. So that was like, I mean, that guy's got the hottest chick in the world at the time. He's an astronaut, drives a cool car, has got a cool house.
Yeah,
like I have
convertible, right?
Yeah. So it's like that was to me like the start of the astronaut stuff, and then I started reading more. And as a kid, I went down to Houston, the NASA thing down there, and then one in Florida, and I started really getting into it. And I mean, talk about just absolutely cool shit.
Yeah, I think it's neat. It's interesting, seeing that stuff at the Science and Industry and the museum and stuff like that. But that's as far as I ever went with it.
Yeah. I took my son to the 50th anniversary stuff there, which was neat. I took him down to Kennedy Space Center for that, which was neat. I actually do own something pretty cool that's NASA related. I just got to get it framed. So the Apollo 11 command module, like all that stuff it looked like gold foil, right? On that protected it.
Yeah.
It's called Kapton, and it is a style of Kapton. And I actually went to some of these auctions when they were auctioning off some stuff, and they actually took all that and they did it live. Like they took a lot, cut it off, certified it, and all that. And I just got to get it framed. I've had this for a little bit. But a NASA employee that worked on all that stuff had it still. They never got rid of it. So this is actually foil that was flown for the Apollo. It's a little piece of it, but
Really?
Yeah. See that little piece right there?
Boy, that is small.
It is. It is. But this was part of Apollo 11.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So that's the type of stuff I'm into. I do have a lot of cool NASA stuff. Hey, Wendy English is in the house. I got all kinds of neat NASA stuff. I just got to dig it out. That's kind of my favorite stuff. Here's why I'm really funny about it, John. You know me. I'm really big into. Real quick, Levi. I want to race at Kennedy Space Center as a local street spot. Yes, there is, and I've seen it, and it is cool, and it's open road, not very dangerous. But like when it comes like the 60s, I'm at the exact opposite ends of the spectrum, right? When it comes to what happened in the 60s, I like the 60s pop culture of the hot rods and the music. You know what I'm saying? That style, and then the whole other end of the spectrum of the nerdy NASA stuff. So it's like opposite ends is what I like. But I don't think you could have had one without the other. I don't. Not for that time. Not for that time. Yeah. So how's your week been going, John?
Not too bad. We just finished up Tim's truck tonight, and he is going to pick it up tomorrow. That is the first 4R100 with the Casper Matic in it.
Nice.
And he's heading down to Florida to do some racing. I think he'll be there Tuesday, Wednesday, or is it Sunday, Monday? I don't remember. But he's going down to race it, and so we just finished it in the nick of time. And
nice.
Actually, that's going to be my content for this week. Is when he gets there, I'm going to put the GoPro in the truck, and Lucas is going to take Tim for a drive and show him how to operate the brake and how to shift it and how it works and all that other stuff. And then the two are going to switch seats. And then Tim's going to get in his truck. And I told Lucas to kind of like, make sure he leaves his foot off the brake when he's letting go of the trans brake. Because that's kind of that's a weird feeling to have your finger on a button, the car floored, and your foot not on the foot brake.
Yeah, oddly enough, I was talking to a friend of mine about that last night, and looks like we just lost John. Let me put another link in there. We got Dust Devil Brian in the house, who is building a very cool Duster. Very good looking tunnel ram that he's got going on there too, I must say. But yeah, but going to what he was talking about, I was talking to a friend of mine about that, and that just sounds so weird of not having your foot on the brake and just literally your gas and a button. And the way we're wiring up mine, since I just put the two-step in, is we're wiring a two-step and brake on one button. Hey, thanks, Automotive Carnage. I appreciate it. Got to get back to work now, but have a killer night. Chat boys, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Oh, we're getting John O'Matic back in the house.
I don't know what the heck that is.
The FBI kicked you out.
Yeah, right.
Jason's asking about who's all going to the Indy swap meet. I know I am. Okay, so you were talking about the Casper-Matic transmission and all that. And you were talking about the foot and the button.
Yeah, just keeping your foot off the foot brake and playing the trans brake button and floored it. So I told Lucas to critique his driving,
Yeah.
Just that's the only thing he can look for. Other than that, you're just shifting the shifter. So we'll have a little content out of that, and I'll probably get that video up on Saturday like I normally do.
So here's my question on that. What RPM do you suggest launching at? Is there a calculation based upon stall converter or?
On his particular vehicle, because it's a bone stock motor, it's a bone stock lightning motor. They have like a little blower on there. So I think it went up to like 27 or 2,800. So I told him to put he's got an adjustable two-step. So I said to go 2,500. So if for advice to anybody who's getting a trans brake and they don't know where to go, big block or small block, what I recommend that you do is once you get the brake in and the transmission's warmed up, you apply the trans brake and put it to the wood for 2 seconds. And you watch where the tack goes, and that's going to be your max flash on the brake. So let's just say, for shits and giggles, it goes up to 4,500. Then what I tell the guys is to go down at least 300 or 400 underneath that flash. That way you're not ballooning the converter. And then you can go from there. Because a lot of small blocks, if you run a low chip, they zing up high in RPM. But big blocks are torquey motors, so they like to be higher up.
Okay.
So,
because I've got a 4,500 converter in mine, and I was like, man, wonder what I need to set my rev limit. It's 2 dials.
Once we get it in your car, I'm going to show you how to do that. I'm going to do the same thing with you that Lucas is going to do with Tim, and like give you a little trans brake driving lesson, and we'll see what the stall is, test it, and then we'll just set the two-step underneath that.
Okay.
So since you have a big block, you want to keep it high up. But believe it or not, a lot of small blocks will run faster if you set there. So let's say you got like a $5,000 converter. I know some small block guys will put it at 32, 33 just because they RPM so much quicker than the big block. And so you're lit going the button and you're flashing it at the same time. That RPM just jumps up there really fast.
Yeah. Yeah, I noticed for a big block, mine likes to rev pretty quick too. I think the other thing's going to have to get used to is going backwards on my shifter.
It's It's so easy. It's like riding a bike or going skating when you were a kid.
Yeah.
Once you do it once, it is going to be second nature. It really is, you know.
It's going to be fun.
It's going to take at least one day at the track to get used to it, and after that, it's like, I don't know, locking the door behind you. You're not even going to think about doing it.
Good. It's going to be pretty fun. I can't wait. I cannot wait to be out there.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be kind of fun to be out there goofing off a little bit, and I've been kind of hibernating in a shop this whole time for a while, so it'd be kind of nice to have some buddies at the shop and screw around a little bit.
It's definitely going to be a whole lot of fun. Absolutely. Big Black 402, he just said I have a 4,000 stall going in Candy Cane now, but he's going to foot brake it. He is part of the tunnel ramp. There's going to be a lot of tunnel ramp cars there this year. A ton.
Yeah,
the first year of this, I think the only tunnel ramp cars technically at the time were really slated was mine, Brian's, and Andy, and Al. There wasn't a whole lot. I mean, I didn't make it. Brian didn't make it. Andy didn't make it. But I mean, we physically made it, but our cars took a shit on us. But there's a lot of tunnel rams coming, which is really cool. Really, really cool.
Yeah.
And I know you can, if I went with a single plane, like an AFR intake, one of their new high-end intakes, and like, let's say a Dominator, a really well-tuned Dominator, I would probably be faster, but it looks badass with a tunnel ram. I love the looks of it.
Not only that,
Jed had one too.
It looks better from inside the car than outside the car.
Yes.
When you're driving and that tunnel ram and the throttle and everything is sitting there eyeballing you in the face through the windshield, man, you feel you feel 10 feet tall. You know what I mean?
You do.
Yeah.
And it's a lot. It's fun. And of course, hey, we got Tim Windsor in the house. It's funny because my car doesn't go out a lot. I do get it out, but I've been to a few local car shows just in and out. And I find it hilarious when someone asks me what kind of blower's on that car. It's like, I don't have a blower. It's a tunnel ram.
Hey, the next car show you go to, and I've seen this, a lot of people do that, especially in an engine like yours, which is, somewhat flashy. Hide a GoPro underneath the hood and then leave the hood open at a car show. You'll be surprised how many people will say the wrong thing about the engine. It's actually quite funny.
Yeah. It is. I mean, I've heard some crazy shit. Hey, like Big Black 402, I agree. I could make better power with a single plane, but I want a hole in my hood. Exactly. Seeing them carbs sticking out is worth power difference. Absolutely. Plus, you're doing everything good for the environment. We're making all this gasoline. Somebody's got to drink it. So, us in the world of tunnel rams.
Do you really think the car would be slower with a single carburetor versus that tunnel ram?
I think my car would be faster with the single.
You think so?
Yeah, I think with some of the new technology on the like AFR, I have a guy off channel that does a lot of stuff with Jimmy, and he builds big block Ford race engines for these race trucks, and he's gone through everything, and he has this crazy AFR single plane intake, and I swear to God, this thing's like this tall. It's like a tunnel ram single plane, but the ports that go to it are huge, and he runs a Dominator, and he says it's much quicker, but it's also this.
Well, one thing I'm really looking forward to when you bring your car over next week is after you get the transmission out. I have that. Yours is a big block, right?
Yeah.
I don't think I have a big block, but I gotta. Do I have a big block E4OD case? I have a small block, but I just want to put it up in the floorboard, not attach it to the motor or nothing.
Yeah.
Just to see how much room is in your car. And does that T-Bird share the same platform as, like, what body is a T-Bird?
I would say like Ford LTD of that era, the Galaxy probably of that era.
Okay. Does Ford not like call their bodies like A body, B body, C body?
I think they just call it full. I think it's just full size, honestly.
Okay.
Because I'm
Because
pretty
they-
sure the suspension adjustable bullshit I got was for technically a Galaxy.
Okay. So it's like a two-door Galaxy.
Yeah. Yeah.
They made four doors though on those that year, didn't they?
Yeah, they made in fact the 4-door T-Birds that year were suicide doors.
That's right. Yeah.
There's
But
a
never
one
a
running
wagon.
around local. No. Oh, that would be cool.
A two-door wagon would be cool.
Yes. Yes.
You know?
And John is right. Ford never made anything easy. There's so much cool stuff that Ford did do that I liked. I've been reading more up on it. And but there's a lot of stuff that they did that was just cattywampus. Really
They got some
cattywampus on
really
it.
cool 68 to 72 cars, which
Yes.
almost look like Canadian cars in a way. The only reason why they look Canadian because they're a little bit foreign to what you're used to seeing.
Right. Right.
You know, and I find myself when I'm scrolling through Facebook Marketplace, I always look at everything. I just don't look at Mopars. Just
Right.
to kind of see what other cars are like and what they're going for and whatnot. There's some really cool 68. It's not a Torino. It's another. It looks like a Torino, but it's not.
Is it the it's I know exactly what it is. It looks like I know what it is. I can't think of it either. It might have been the Galaxy actually.
Yeah, I don't. It wasn't a Galaxy. There's one more car in that. What's the Talladega based off of?
Ford. I think Torino Talladega maybe.
You know what's really cool are those Rancheros, the 1970 Ranchero, that looks like a Torino
Yeah,
with the hideaway headlights. They got some really
Yeah.
neat taillights.
they do. Like I said, Ford did do some stuff. The Montegos Mercury made were cool. White Trash Motorsports. Yes, Fairlane. Fairlane is the car we're thinking
Yep,
of.
that's the word we're looking at.
Yep. Sam, good hearing from you, man. Haven't heard from you in a while. Hope all is well. I know where there is a stash of Torinos, Cyclones, Fairlanes, some rare Mustangs, all sitting in this big ass garage on lifts. I mean, just a pile of them. And the guy just doesn't have any interest in them anymore. Like, he got all this stuff and thought his kids would be interested in it. Never really got into it.
I always said if they outlawed Mopars, that I'd be a Ford guy.
Yeah, if they outlawed Mopars, yeah. I tell you what, it would be Ford, but I wouldn't go with the 460 platform I have now. I think I would go with 427 platform. I really like that engine. Another thing, have a good night, Jason. Another one I dig just because of the torque, and I've been playing around with them more. A Pontiac. I'm not a huge fan of some of their heads, but those engines do make a lot of power, and I love the 68 Ram Air 2 Pontiac engine. Just absolutely wild. Underrated, and that would be a fun one. But yeah, you're right. Ford has done some neat stuff.
Well, when I was a kid, I dated this chick who had a 74 Firebird with Craigers on it and everything. And it was only a 350, but it was pretty buzzy, pretty fast.
Yeah.
And a marrying chick, but...
Dougster said, friends of my family had a Burgundy 70 Ranchero. It was sharp burgundy, had a seriously built 351 C6, and came with a slide-in camper. Now, that is really cool. White Trash Motorsports. Sam says I'm a GM guy because so much can be shared across brands. Yeah, legitimately. Levi wants a 72 fastback Destroyer. Ford has always supported drag racing. They have, and what Ford really messed up though on that, in my opinion, because like I really love the vintage drag racing stuff. They did not exploit what they needed to with it. They had some names that were very well known, but they didn't have the characters like everybody else did in a lot of stuff. Obviously, they had, I'm trying to think of his name now, Hubert Platt, which was a wild man. But they didn't exploit it as much as Dodge did and as much as Chevy did. But man, they had some badass shit. The Ford drag team across America and Canada was amazing. And they also had a parts, you know how like Mopar had like Hustle Stuff, Direct Connection, Chevy had all that. Ford had that too. And it was actually cool. And like, yeah, it was like, I think it was called Muscle Parts. And they just didn't exploit it, as much as they should have. Yeah, like Destroyer, they needed a Grumpy Jenkins. You're right. They needed a Grumpy Jenkins. They had, for a little bit, Hubert Platt. On their funny car side, Mickey Thompson did a lot of stuff with Danny Onaga. I think that's how you pronounce his name. But, man, they could have really, really... Well, I mean, 69, I mean, they were running the camera and kicking everybody's ass in Top Fuel. But they never exploited it. They never went that extra step like Chrysler did. Like they made some one-off stuff that was really neat. Bob Glidden was not a showman, but he kicked ass and he sold a lot of cars from him. But, Chevy did a very good job. I think Chrysler did a job at exploiting the market more than anybody. Way more than anybody. Scat Pack, Rapid Transit. I mean, the dealerships they had doing stuff, just the people, the Dick Landys, the Sox and Martins, all those people they had doing stuff were showmen. They had the names, they had the image, they had everything. Hell, Ronnie Sox raced for the U.S. drag team that went overseas. Ford tried getting into that. They made that blown Boss 429. A couple of them went over to Vietnam, but they just never capitalized on it. The Mopar,
big balls.
They did. They had really big balls.
The wing on a car, or in the motors that they did, and cross rams and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Chrysler always had big balls.
Yeah, and Eric makes a good point. Mopar cartoon stuff was awesome. 1968, the fucking Warner Brothers Roadrunner. Who else is going to do that? They took a car that was a nice car, and they bare-boned it, put a kind of a Hot Rod 383 and a 4-speed in it, a Sure Grip, a cartoon character on it, sold that car like crazy.
Yeah, and you know what? The Super Bee is somewhat of a cartoon character, not as being on TV, but if you look at that logo, it's kind of the same thing, but on the Dodge side.
Well, if you look at the 1970 Super Bee, let me pull something up. I've always said the front end of that car looks like a bee. Let me see if I can pull that up real quick.
I love that front end, by the way.
That's my favorite front end of that era by far. I mean, just absolutely. If you look at, let me see if I can do this without jacking something up. Nope, that's not what I wanted to do there. I'm learning new things, John, and I always fumble the fuck out of them. So if you look at that, that looks like a bee. Their cartoon bee, look at the eyes. That looks like the bee.
Definitely a cool year.
Yes. 1970 was a very, very, very cool year. I got you if you need help, Jeff. I always need help, Eric. Some of it's psychological.
Hey, in the honor of Destroyer 1320, why don't you give us a little Harry Carey there?
He should. He should come in and do some Harry Carey.
You're good at it too.
I am. I'm kind of like losing my voice because of the weather lately. It's just
I don't care. Give us some Harry Carey. Hey, say
Okay,
something about in Harry Carey's voice about the Casper-Matic.
Hey, you guys seen that truck running up and down the boulevard? Going to get a hot dog with the Casper-Matic transmission. You ever seen a guy eat a hot dog in one bite? I have. He let off a trans brake. He's white as a ghost. That's why they call him Casper.
Oh my God, that never gets old.
It doesn't. It doesn't. And you know what's funny when I actually went into work, we had a meeting room, and I would like a joke around with a friend of mine about it, and he would sit there and laugh, but I would sit there in the meeting and start shaking my head, and he's just like, "Do not do it," and I would in the middle of a meeting just because I didn't give a shit. Oh.
I'm going to have you do that voice, and I'll leave it on the answering machine at the shop.
Well, when I called, for some reason, I don't know why, I hit in my phone John Cope, and I had both numbers, and I called the shop, and you didn't answer. And they're like, I'm like, I need to speak with the Mr. John Cope. And they're like, who is this? I'm like, it's the Street Squirrel. And they're like, excuse me? I'm like, I need to speak to John Cope.
Who'd you talk to, a lady or a kid?
It was a kid.
Oh, that was Lucas.
I think next time I'm going to call up and be like, hey, Lucas, I need to talk to the hot dog hauler. Just where's that hot dog hauler at? Hey, look at this. Destroyer, thank you. Thanks, Mr. Eric Destroyer. I need to talk to Eric because I'm getting my podcast equipment in soon so I can do everything I want to with two people back there. I did order something cool. However, it was on back order, of course. But I think there's going to be a lot of Harry Carey stuff going on here pretty soon. That's what I mean. You could legitimately, whenever a vehicle's there, it's the hot dog hauler. We're going to go get ourselves some beef and spices.
I'll tell you what we're going to do, Jeff. I'm going to bring a GoPro with us when we go to Aurelio's.
Yes.
You have to order the pizza in that voice.
I will. I absolutely will. In fact, I'll have to put on some glasses too.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, they got glasses. Hey, can I get some extra sausage on that pizza?
Do you carry Budweiser?
You got any Budweiser? Seeing him in real person as a kid, you see it now. You're like, oh my God, they had a net there so he wouldn't fucking fall off. Oh,
the best way to get a Harry Carey one is to just imitate that guy from Saturday Night Live.
Oh yeah. When he did the space show. Yeah. If the moon was made out of barbecue spare ribs, would you eat it? Well, the best one was that he would make people laugh. He's like, hey, Norm, and like people are just dying. And it's like, oh my God.
Oh, jeez. Well, you made my day, Jeff.
Well, I tell you what, I like making Mr. John Cope's day. See, you have the perfect last name, because you can hit it like like Mr. John Cope. You could you're like a principal. Like Principal John Cope, and everyone would be afraid of you if you were like, you were from, what was that town? It's always on the tip of my tongue.
Calumet City.
What's that?
Calumet City.
Calumet City. The principal of Calumet City Junior High, the principal John Cope, and kids would just fucking.
Look who's there.
Yeah. There
Can't hear you.
1 second, I gotta fix my headphones.
There you go.
I heard you guys talking about hot dog now at the ballpark.
Oh man!
Hot dogs being a currency.
You ever seen a guy turn a hot dog into a straw to drink a beer?
Why is those Chevy guys always lick the hot dog before they eat?
Why does that that hot dog's got some extra skin on it?
He kisses her in the strike. She kisses him with the balls.
You know what I used to do to a friend of mine? So when my kid was in, like, he's older now, but like young little league, a kid I grew up with would always be at the game. Every time I saw him at a game, I would take random pictures of him eating a hot dog, and I would turn him into memes and like send them to everybody at the game that were there. So he doesn't even know it. He's sitting there just, getting a tonsillectomy by, freaking, and everyone's looking at him.
Oh,
The kid in the sombrero anyway.
Why is everyone looking at me and laughing?
God. Oh, it's so good. I love
Oh, it is.
Harry.
It is. I tell you what, I wish he was still alive. I would vote for him. He would make it an excellent president. Because at least being a total fucking idiot, at least he'd be funny about it,
Well, yeah, he'd stand up there. Did you guys know that Cairo spelled backwards is Lirac?
And he'd be like, did you see that press conference by Kamala? She said, don't come. I didn't listen.
Oh, my God. Oh, dude, that has to be something on your podcast. Us
Oh, I
doing
know.
Political stuff in the voice of Harry Carey.
We would have to. We would have to. And well, you know what? I think the most intelligent conversation on earth would be Harry Carey post game having a debate on Middle Eastern politics with Karine Jean-Pierre.
Oh, yeah. Well, I was even thinking about him
I mean-
commenting on, hey, did you guys see that Carl Tuckerson? He was on there with that Poutani guy. He was
That
on
guy,
there in the
That
Russian.
that Poontang guy. I don't know why everyone hates with a name like that.
I think I got him going.
They said he's got a nuclear personality. Not sure what's up with that.
Yeah. Oh man, I watched that interview. I don't know if you guys did or not. I watched it, and I was sitting here going, man, they actually have even though he's a scumbag, but they have someone that can actually talk and make sense. Like, this is awesome. Feel bad for you, Russia, but yeah.
He endorsed Biden.
Well, of course he did. Who wouldn't endorse him?
Let's see. Let me fight the boxer who has one arm. Or let me go against the
Yeah.
guy like, no, will kick my ass.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. We're gonna box Christopher Hawkins. Have you seen the memes about him?
Oh, God, yeah. Stephen
Oh
Hawking.
man, yeah. So I was on this big vacation, Navarre 2022, and there was like a bunch of adults with their kids, and so I was the one with a bunch of teenage boys that was having to like watch these kids the whole time. Probably not a good idea, but they're still alive, and they would constantly do stuff, and it's like, man, these kids need to chill out. Like, oh, let's go do this. Let's go do this. I'm like, no, we're all gonna like relax and shit. And they're like, no, we're gonna do this. So anytime they wanted to do something, it's like, fine, I'll play ping pong or whatever. And it's like, I'll just say this is like my ping pong paddle, and I would just sit there and be like, okay, I'm Christopher Hawkins, playing ping pong. And these kids are like dying. Like, we'd be everywhere, and I was doing that. But the memes on him right now. Holy crap!
Oh, God.
Did you hear about that, John? The Epstein Island thing with Christopher Hawkins visiting there,
I did not know that he was there.
and he was, let's just say, revving his pistons at high RPM to like midget girls solving math problems on whiteboards.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah, and you read that shit and you're going, And people think I'm weird. I mean, they don't even need the whiteboard. They can just tell me the math problem.
This is awesome. Hey, it's Big Hooter Day here at the ballpark. Sorry, Hooter.
Yeah.
The gate free.
Yes. Yes. The Ace True Value stuff was just classic, though. Out of nowhere.
Best.
Harry Carey, the Ace. Yes. Brought to you by Ace True Value today. Mr. Cope, who's in section 297B. Get that guy a Budweiser. It's his birthday. And then he would just go butcher somebody's fucking name 100 different ways. Andres Galarraga was the best one he ever butchered. I mean, he couldn't even get through like the first 2 syllables, and he was done. Just done.
Andre Skaglu. It's good.
Yeah.
Skaglu.
Oh, it was just epic. John, were you a Cubs fan or were you a White Sox fan growing up?
Well, being on the south side, everybody goes for the Sox. But
Right.
I actually become a Cubbies fan because of the 1060 West Addison with the Illinois Nazis there.
Yeah. I still use that line. If I know people have no fucking clue what that means, I'll do the 1060 West Addison.
Yeah. Anytime anybody says anything about the Cubs, my first response is 1060 West Addison. They look at me
Exactly.
like, huh, what? I go, that's the address.
Yep, that's the address. We're going to get those guys. If it's
But
the
you know,
last
I've never
thing we
been there.
do. What's that?
I've never been to Cubs Park or Wrigley Field. I've never been there.
It's fun. Me and Eric should take you sometime.
Yes, we should.
Now, I've been to Harry Carey's, the bar. It is only 2 buildings down from the House of Blues.
Yes, it is.
So I've been there.
Yes, it is. So I don't drink anymore, but when I drank, I always had way too good of a time. And I remember it was, I think around 2006-ish somewhere. And my friend Mikey, my dad knows him very well. We all grew up together. And he lived up in Chicago, Sox fan. And I told my dad, I said, hey, me and Mikey are going to take you to a Cubs game for Memorial Day weekend, right? And it's a prime game. And the only reason my friend Mike went, he actually grew up in Atlanta and was also a Braves fan. So it's a afternoon game, late afternoon game. It was at the time in that era, it was the most attendance at a game and the hottest game on Cubs record. Well, we get to my friend Mike's house in the morning and we just start slamming beers, right? We show up to the game fully intoxicated. I am talking like comatose. We drank our body weight in Old Style, of course. And that was, my dad was like, these guys are total morons, you know. But we went to go to the bathroom. This is the old bathroom. And literally saw, I mean, it was just debauchery. Because you remember the trough diving they always talked about?
Oh, yeah.
And we actually saw a guy do the trough slide. But what was even grosser, there's this guy's drunk. And he has a pitcher. And he's full of piss, and he's trying to pour piss into people's beer cuts at Atlanta Braves hats on.
God.
And I'm like, my dad's like, what are we doing here? And I'm like, it's Cubs game. It's when they just absolutely sucked. You know, and that game was so hot. And I mean, we drank so much beer. And it was just, yeah, Dust Devil. Being from St. Louis, I have to hate the Cubs. And that's why you guys sit to pee down there. Just
Well,
kidding.
I
I'm not
can't
really.
stay too long. I can't stay too long. I actually have in-laws in the building here, but I wanted to come in and do a little Harry with you and goof around. I got one last thing.
Well, I
before
appreciate
head
it.
out.
Yes.
No, dude, thanks for having me on. No, I have one last thing. That Cowell lady, boy, she's got more hot dogs rolling through her than Fenway Park.
Oh,
Oh,
I love
man.
Eric. He's a great guy.
He is. You know, he used to have some hilarious shows on YouTube.
He still does. It's on a different channel.
Oh, it is. I didn't know that.
Yeah, so he was getting stung because of the content stuff, right? And so he I think it's called the Meme Show. It's usually Tuesday nights, and I'll pop in and listen to it, and it's just freaking hilarious.
Yeah,
Always
it was funny. He's naturally funny.
Yeah, and that's always a really good thing, especially as a business owner like him. Like I did the announcing stuff with him at No Name Nationals that one year. He's really good at doing that stuff, but man, like he is just out there hitting it hard, promoting his stuff everywhere. Man, you got to have that personality of just being funny and all that shit. But yeah, Dust Devil, he's from St. Louis, so yeah, of course he's got to hate the Cubs. But at the same time, Cubs Cardinals rivalry is always fun.
So is Dougie coming down next Friday?
Oh, yes, he is. Yes, he is. That was my bad. I have to apologize on that because I.
Did you let him know that too?
What's that?
Did you let him know that?
Yeah. In fact, like right as I figured it out with you, I ended up getting a hold of him. Like, hey, man, I got the wrong day here.
Mm.
White Trash Motorsports. I'm from the Pittsburgh area. Our team, the Pirates, have sucked since the 80s. Yeah, but you guys got a nice park now. So, yeah. I am just ready for summertime, man. Like, this cold weather crap is just kicking my ass.
Dude, spring is only 30 days away.
It is. It is. So, here's a question for you. With Tony's Hot Rod Garage, you got that shirt on. How does that process work to have him do a T-shirt?
Dude, for one, he's a stand-up guy.
Oh, yes, he is.
And everybody else has the T-shirts done through his little gig. So like, I know you don't have to keep an inventory, which is great. He makes them as he sells them. But I got a website, and if people buy a Val Body, they want the T-shirt or they whatever, a Haiti shirt, I like putting it in the box. And we ship out a lot, so it's a little bit different. But if I didn't do that, I just let him take care of the whole wang shebang.
Yeah. I'm going to reach out to him.
When I get my shirts from him, and I haven't got the shirts yet, I've gotten some hats. But once I do pull the trigger on the Casper-Matic, which we have, is it 13 now? Pre-sold Val Bodies waiting on the waiting list for a product that's not even out yet. So I'm pretty excited about that.
Yeah. I think once I get my dragster done and everything with my stuff taken care of, I'm going to reach out to Tony because I want a couple shirts, man. I love his designs. I think they're pretty awesome. Very awesome designs. But I might do a logo.
You got a couple logos. Just pick one.
I do, but like the name for like Jumping Jack Flash, I want to come up with a logo for that for the dragster. And yeah. UP, woohoo, Casper-Matic hat. I think that's such a cool name, the Casper-Matic. Absolutely cool name.
It's like half for Andy's truck and half for my dad.
Nice.
Because his shop was called Transmatic.
I like your logo on the side of the black truck with the towers.
Yeah.
That's pretty damn cool.
That's how Dad had that truck. It's exactly the same reproduction of that truck. So
that is absolutely awesome.
That is. Actually, I was thinking about taking that for pizza if it's not shitty out.
Nice.
But there's only 2 feet, so the Duckster's going to have to sit in the bed.
Hey, we all grew up sitting in beds of trucks all the time. Do you remember the Subaru Brat that had the little jump seats in the back with the handles?
They did that for a reason. Well, I can't remember. I saw it on some Subaru video that they put seats in there to meet some cafe laws or something.
Yeah, I think they need to come back out with something. I know, which is crazy to think about.
Yeah,
I would love that to come back.
It was something to do. Well, they had one at No Name last year, but it wasn't running.
Right, that was Clint's. That was Clint's. That's going to be cool. Oh,
Hey,
man, that'd be cool.
I can't see the chat, but I see Unfinished Project up there.
Yes.
We sent him his hat and some other swag the other day. So he should see that soon.
I think he works for the CIA. He's the most elusive guy in the entire world.
Well,
And we got
I got
Dougster.
Have no fear, the Dougster's here, gentlemen.
Hello.
Hey, you can't join unless you can do a Harry Carey impression.
Hey guys, it's Big Hooter Day at the ballpark. Show your Hooters at the gate. Get in free. Hey, check out the kid in the sombrero.
Yeah.
That's it.
Oh man, that's great. What's up, Dougie?
That guy had the biggest glasses in the world, and he could point out every little detail.
Well, yeah.
You know.
He had it made from probably Budweiser beer bottles.
Yeah. Big Mike's in the house.
Oh,
So what's
yeah.
this I got to ride in the back of the Power Wagon? I mean, I'm not against it at all.
just bring a helmet, you'll be okay.
Okay.
You'll look like the guy from Easy Rider, Jack Nicholson, on the back of the bike with a helmet. Remember that? You know? God, that's a great movie.
Take a
Now
nip
we
off
all
the
got to
pint.
ride. If now we all got to ride in the front seat, and how gay is that going to look?
That means I'll have the shifter in my lap. No thanks.
Yeah, right.
Colt misses shift and I'm fucked.
Speaking of trucks, movie truck that I want really bad. It's the dually 1-ton 454 quad cab from Cannonball Run with the Firebird painted on the hood.
If you're going to be a bear, be a grizzly bear.
Yes. Hey, look who we got in the house. His ears must have been ringing. It's Tony's Hot Rod
It's
Garage.
Tony.
Tell him to get his dumb ass in here already.
You should get your dumb ass in here already. Per the Mr.
That's
John
right.
Cope. The
Tony
principal
Ross.
of
Tony Ross
principal
to
of
the Patriots.
yes. So we're referring to Cope now as the principal of Calumet City Junior High.
Oh, that's
I'm
right.
telling you.
Man, you're not going to like it if Colt finds out about this.
What are you drinking there,
Old
Dougie?
man Colt. Labatt Blue beer.
What is it?
Labatt Blue
Let
beer.
me see the can.
You want to look at my can?
I collect beer cans.
Oh, look
I've
at
never
that.
seen that. That's beer?
Yeah, that's beer.
I didn't never seen that.
A fine Canadian Pilsner.
Oh. Which
That's
in
French.
Michigan really is Canadian, so it's the same thing, right?
Oh, yeah,
It's
we're really friendly, don't you know?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Did you get some snow? What'd you at?
We got 7 inches of snow in 4 hours. When
Did
I
you
left for
put it-
work this morning, my lawn was green. And then
okay.
I drove through that to go to work. I was an hour late. There was so many slide-offs on the highway this morning. Yeah.
No
And
kidding.
don't you guys use sand in Michigan instead of salt?
Oh, God, I wish we did. No, we use chloride and salt. Now, in
Okay.
the northern counties, they use beet juice, believe it or not. And that
Yep.
stuff is not corrosive to your car, and it works better in colder temperatures than the salt or the chloride. But
Beet?
Yeah, beet juice. In fact, they use that in tractor tires to help weight it
Yeah,
down. It's
like
they make
chloride.
synthetic beet.
It's
It's
nature's
synthetic
friend.
now.
Yeah, it's friendly, environmentally friendly instead of the chloride, because chloride's nasty shit.
No kidding.
Yep, beet juice.
What part of Michigan are you from?
I live very close to Martin, US 131.
Okay.
So, gentlemen, if either of you guys or both you guys are going to be at Martin, let me know.
I used to go to Mount at least once a year.
Say what now?
I used to go there once a year. They used to have a Mopar race there.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, they did.
Oh, yeah. Oh yeah,
How close to Martin, Michigan are you?
less than 10 minutes.
Wow, really that close,
5
huh?
No
minutes.
kidding.
I'd say yeah. I probably could get to Martin in 5 minutes, 5 to 10.
No shit.
Yeah, I mean, I live in the spring, in April, test and tune time, no leaves on the trees. I can hear the cars touch off.
Wow.
Yes.
No kidding.
You know,
Yep.
Michigan was always a cool place to go for vacationing when we were kids.
Yep.
And
Here's
I rented a Airbnb. It was like a log cabin, I think about a year and a half ago or 2
I
years ago.
remember you went up to
And the
Sausage
one
Talk. I mean,
thing-
Saugatuck.
Exactly. The one thing I can't get used to now going to Michigan is all the frickin' pot stores they got everywhere.
They're everywhere in Illinois.
Everywhere. And you know, you go past them, the first thing you think is, oh, that place is full of some degenerate stoners or something, you know? So
Hey, John, Wendy was wanting to know if you are wanting 4 empty beer cans that you collect.
well, I don't collect new beer cans. I only collect beer cans from the 70s.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I don't collect the new stuff. I just like looking one at when I see one. So I saw Dougie had one in his hand, so I was like, I just, wanted to check it out.
Now I have a small time beer can collection myself, and my crown jewel is a blue ribbon can that is the straight steel body, stamp top, stamp bottom. The label is upside down. The pull tab is at the bottom of the can.
Oh, cool.
My dad found it ice fishing. They went ice fishing, and then he noticed his beer was upside down. He drank the beer, but at least he kept the can, and I have it.
You have a very good collection. I've been scoping a couple of your videos out here and there in my spare time.
Nice.
And really, really cool stuff.
I just got really lucky with the Hastings stuff. I fell into it. Seriously.
Now, did your mom work for that company and that's how you got into that?
Yeah, that's kind of how it all started. Yeah, I've always liked the tough guy. Always liked the tough guy. Long before I got into Hastings stuff. Yeah, my mother-in-law, not my mom, my mother-in-law.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but still, I mean, yeah, she works at the Piston Ring in the original 100-year-old building.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, yeah.
And I have a.
What city was that, Dougie?
Hastings, Michigan.
Oh, all right.
Downtown. I mean, downtown.
I've got a Hastings jacket that I'm going to give Dougster
Yeah.
because it's going to be better in his collection than mine.
Yes, and the tough guy is embroidered onto the patch on the coat, and it says K-Site on the shoulder, I think.
Yes.
And it's kind of funny because the eyes of the tough guy are so poorly stitched. It looks like he spent the weekend with Tommy Chong.
He probably did.
That's how he looks.
He probably
he looks
did.
Like he's all squinto.
He probably did.
That's funny.
Yeah,
I tell you what, everything back then had much better personality.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, and when I went to I'm so sorry. There was this really great antique auto parts store that I would go to, and they specialized in antique car parts. I mean, you could go. My friend won lunch there. His wife backed into his '60 Fairlane and cracked the taillight.
Oh.
And the ring around it, and he was all distraught. He goes, "Where am I going to find a taillight for a '60 Fairlane?" My friend Chuck says, "I know where we can do it, and we'll do it on our lunch break." He goes, "You're going to get me a taillight for a 1960 Fairlane on our lunch break?" Absolutely. He says, "I'll buy you lunch if you can do that."
Nice.
They went to Northwestern Auto Parts. The guy 10 minutes later blows an inch of dust off the boxes, looks them up in the book. Yep, there you go. And they were crash parts run from 64. They had part number or date coded for 64. brand new in the box, original parts. They
Now, are they
specialized
known more for the Hastings? Known more for their piston rings than anything?
Yes. Well,
Okay.
yeah, they're known for their piston rings the most, but Cassite products, everyone's heard of Motor Honey.
Yes.
Motor
True.
Honey is Cassite. Cassite was a lubricants division for Hastings. So you had Cassite 3C, Motor Honey, Smooth Seal. There was a power additive called Torque. There is Tune-Up, Sludge Solvent. It's amazing.
Look at that, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I can't get a
That's
close
good.
up here.
yeah. And that's the best there is. And what's really crazy is how many different tough guys there are. How he's posed. He points up. He points over. There's one Hastings logo where he's kind of hugging the letter H, and it says Hastings with the arrow in the middle of it. And he's got both hands out, which is rare because you never see him with both his hands.
Here's one that's new old stock, John.
Oh, he's
For
got
guys
such
who
cool
buy
stuff.
Look at that.
Dr. Dodge.
I've never seen that before.
Here's one I just came across that I think you're gonna. Oh, the Mopar guys would like for sure. This is ACF, which was the Carter competition series.
Yes. Yes. Is there an actual call out? Is there an actual name on it?
ACF and Carter competition series. Of
Oh, ACF. Okay.
Yep.
So it's two ads. Okay.
Yep.
Almost like a. All right, girl.
Hey, Dougie, is Hastings still in business?
Do what? Oh, yeah. Hastings is still in business. Absolutely.
They still use the same logos and everything?
Yes, they do. They have a new tough guy. Like at the 100th anniversary, they come out with a new improved tough guy.
Uh-huh.
And he doesn't, they kind of made him look, he doesn't look as tough. I don't care for him. Like in my
Are they
video.
still located in the same town of Hastings, Michigan?
Yep, always been made in the same town of Hastings, Michigan. We were still making the cast iron sleeves up till the first of the year in the foundry. They finally idled the foundry.
Wow.
Yeah, so they were still pouring cast iron up till the first of the year.
No kidding.
They made bullet casings during World War II. Uncle Sam put a rail spur. That's the Kendall shirt that he just got. That's badass.
Oh.
And you know what's
The
crazy?
Kendall logo, the 2, or actually it's this way. The 2 on the Kendall logo, the hand, is for 2,000 miles. Kendall Motor Oil was the first brand to go to 2,000 miles. So that's what the 2's for.
No shit.
No shit.
That's pretty cool.
I used to think it was the like maybe sign language for K. What's that?
WLS.
What was that button, Jeff?
WLS Super Summer. We love summer.
Oh.
Cool.
Running around
Doesn't
Chicago
know
with
what
my
that
dad, we
means.
always had to listen to WMAQ All News 67 because of traffic.
I tell you what's crazy. I actually at one point had a very rare vintage drag racing collection, and I had over 150 jackets, race uniforms. I could have had a miniature museum, and I had cars. I had all kinds of neat shit. And then I decided I needed to get out of cars and raise kids and all that fun stuff. But I still have stuff left, and I'm still starting to kind of bring stuff back when I can find it, you know.
But at least you did it for a good reason. It wasn't like you just said, I'm done with this.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of did that in some ways, but at the same time, not exactly. But, I mean, I was on the road all the time. I mean, I worked my normal job, but I had a cool boss, and because what I did, I was working like 313s. And then I was flying, driving, probably 30 weekends or more out of the year. And I did it for like 10 years. So I had to get it. It was a lot. I met a lot of cool people. The guy that I did travel with was Norm Kraus from Grand Spalding Dodge.
Oh, God. Mr. Norm.
I tell you what, one memorable thing is my dad grew up in the 60s and early 70s. And I called him up one time. And John will know this restaurant, Gina Georgette's Steakhouse. The old 60s place. It's an old 60s steakhouse in Chicago, and it still looks the same. I had dinner there one night, and I called my dad with Norm, Arnie Beswick, and Linda Vaughn.
No shit.
Yeah, I called my dad, and he had called me because it was around his birthday. And I called him up, and I was talking to him, and he's like, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm having dinner." And he's like, "Oh, yeah, who you having dinner with?" And I told him. He's like, "Are you kidding me?" I'm like, "No." And that was a very fun night.
So what the hell did Harry Carey say to Linda Vaughn in the restaurant?
What did I say to her?
No. What did Harry Carey say to Linda Vaughn in the restaurant?
Actually, I didn't say anything Harry Carey.
Hey, look at the Hooters on that
but
one. It's Big Hooter Day at the ballpark.
Yeah, I ended up seeing her a lot, at different places. And we were at PRI a couple years ago, and I was with Clint and some people. And he goes, "Hey, there's Linda Vaughn." I said, "I'm going to go talk to her." He's like, "What?" I'm like, and she recognized me right away.
No way.
Really? Yeah. Yeah, she's a very nice lady. It's very funny. Like if you like ever heard her backstory and everything, like absolutely very, very cool lady. One thing I did have, which was neat, and it's a long story how I got it, and I ended up giving it back to her. It was her 72 Winter Nationals medallion, her Miss Hurst one. I actually had that. There was a collector that I went through in Pennsylvania of getting stuff, and he was legit. And I told her that, "Hey, I got this thing. It's really cool." She's like, "How'd you get that?" And I told her, and she knew the guy. And she's like, "Man, like I've been trying to get stuff back that I owned." And I'm like, "What do you mean?" And she started talking about like some stuff got misplaced through some people and it wasn't supposed to be sold. So I'm like, "I'll get it right back to you," and I did.
Very cool.
Very cool.
Yeah. But like I said, I traveled all the time, got to meet some really neat people. And one of the coolest people I think I ever met that was just a firebrand, and he was a Ford guy at the time, and I didn't really give a shit about Fords at the time, was Hubert Platt. I mean, the guy that had the Georgia Shaker and all that, and he did the Ford drag team. That guy, you can just tell he pissed fire and was just a wild man back in the day. Oh, yeah. And some of the stories he told, I'm like, oh, my God. Same thing with Arnie Beswick, but he was really reserved. But you can tell Hubert tossed a few beers back and did some testing on back roads. Definitely. Definitely wild guy.
I can relate. So I have a really great Mr. Norm story. So my friend was a wheeler dealer, fast and loose, flipping cars. He just put lipstick on a pig, make it look good and sell it. But he liked 70s Mopars. So one day he's flipping through the back of either Mopar Muscle or Mopar Action, and there's an ad in the back, "Buy a Mr. Norm supercharged truck." Okay, so he calls up, gets in touch with Grand Spalding. He talks to Norm himself, and he goes, "I want one of those trucks." He goes, "I have one left, my personal truck. If you're interested, I'm here." So Norm stayed late, and this guy drove from Michigan all the way to Chicago to Grand Spalding and went and looked at Mr. Norm's personal truck. It was the Mr. Norm's 500. It was the only one with the supercharge, or the only one, they all came supercharged, but it was the only one with the intercooler, the only one with the Italian leather interior, the only one with the carbon fiber dash, and it was the prototype, so it was painted 4 times to figure out what color they wanted it. And so Norm drove it like any normal vehicle. There's a scratch in the side where he backed into a picnic table at the 4th of July and, the normal stuff. So this guy's like, "Well, I see this and I see this and I see this and I see this, so I'll offer you this." And old Norm stuck to his guns. He did not come down a penny. No. 30 grand. 30 grand, period. 30 grand, period. So he buys this truck. and he touches it up, makes it look all pretty. Norm signs the visor on the driver's side. It was in Mopar Muscle or Mopar Action, and they had put a big old honking 6-inch tachometer on the dash, and it didn't work because Mopar Muscle or Mopar Action would not do a write-up on the vehicle unless it had a big honking tack on the dash.
I could see that.
So at the time when this guy had the Mr. Norm Supercharged truck, his son had a 2000 Ram Air Firebird and a WS6 car with a 6-speed. They decide that which is faster, the WS6 or Mr. Norm truck. We're going to go out on the road and we're going to figure this out. The son beat dad by a bumper every time. The Firebird would hook. Norm would not hook. All Norm did was boil tire. So
Very cool.
I could definitely see that.
What year was
he?
this,
He
Doug?
was
early 2000s.
Okay.
that was a
Oh.
truck designed, and a friend of his named Larry had a performance company out in California, but the guy grew up in Chicago. It was done by a company called Performance West.
Performance
And
West.
they yep. He was a character. I mean, we spent hours on the road together, so I got to hear a lot of neat stuff, right? And some of the stuff he told me, you're like, man, you couldn't get away with that today. I mean, nothing bad, but you just couldn't get away with it. But his very first dealership that he went after was not Dodge. It was
Oldsmobile.
Pontiac. It's Pontiac.
Oh, yeah.
He was looking geographically where he lived at the time of what was around and what wasn't. And they were used car kids. They were young. They were in their late 20s, mid-late 20s, him and his brother. And he ended up, long story to do it, but he ended up getting hooked up with Dodge. And that, man, I tell you what, like, I
And then
would have
became the
loved,
the country. That's neat.
yeah. I mean, I would have loved to been around that place in the 60s and early 70s.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man.
Oh, yeah. I mean, being
We
there
got
would be
Bucket
like,
in here.
Be like being at Yanko every day.
Well, 4501 West Irving Park Road,
Chevy,
Chicago.
Grand Rapids.
Well, I mean, 4501 West Irving Park Road, not too far from Grand Spalding, was Nicky Chevrolet.
Oh, Nikki. Yes.
Yep. So
Yeah.
you had that going on too. And
Nikki Chevelle.
I mean, they had Dick Harrell for a while. They were doing the 427 stuff. They were doing all that crazy crap. My mom's cousin, really reclusive guy, big car guy, and he just buys stuff and puts it in sheds. No kids, had a good job, just buys hot rod stuff, puts away. He's always a Chevy guy. And he told me he got back from a deployment and he decides that he's going to get a new vehicle. And he didn't keep new vehicles long. And like his buddy drove it while he was back, and he had bought this car late 69 and late 70. He decides he's going to get rid of it. His daily driver was a Hemi Cuda. And it's like, holy shit. So he goes to Grand Spalding and he was going to trade in on something, decides, this is only a Mopar. He'll try to do that. Didn't find what he wanted. So he's going to go to Chevy because he's always a Chevy guy. So he orders one of the Hot Rod 427 Camaros that they do, all high end, L88, everything, top of the line. He's going to come pick it up. So they told him his car was ready to come, and he shows up there, and they didn't have his Camaro. It had a Nova. So they have a Nova, not the right color. He wanted an automatic. This is a 4-speed, but it had the aluminum, everything, the high end, everything. He gets pissed off, and they drop the price, and he has the car. He gets sent back overseas, comes back, and his buddy was driving it. And so it's a legit Nicky, like if you want to call it Copo 427, top of the line, all the aluminum shit Nova. He drove it drove it for a few years. Gas crunch hits. He takes the whatever out and puts a small block in it and sells the car. That car today is worth a house, But he's got so much of this stuff laying around. Like last time I saw him, well, I mean, I've seen him quite a bit, but I went to his sister's house because it's not too far from where my buddy Kyle's shop is. And he's like, hey, if you ever see my truck there, stop by. I got a Mopar there. All right. sitting in his sister's garage is a Recreation 68 Hemi Dart. Holy shit. And it's got a Ray Barton engine in it. But the engine that was in it when he bought it is sitting over in the corner. And it's one of the 64, 65 race K5 Hemis. Hey, we got Pull Barn Garage. What is going on?
Dalton,
Yeah.
welcome.
How's it
Big
going,
fan of
Dalton?
the channel, Dalton.
I'm digging his builds on all the different
Yes.
cars he's been putting together. It's pretty wild.
And I absolutely love it when he talks about his Jag.
Yeah.
Jag.
But there's just some, you look at those cars back then, just people just drove them.
They were just cars. That's all they were. I mean, you use them up and you get rid of them, and it breaks down. You grab the plates and you walk down the road.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, my dad in 70, his daily driver was a 444 speed CUDA. It's like, man. I actually got to go for a ride in the Holy Goat down the drag strip one time, and it was actually really cool.
I am so jealous.
B&R, Mickey Thompson went to Chrysler in 1958 for a land speed record set with Hemi power, and they turned him down. He went to Pontiac next day, and they wrote him a check for $10K to start. Yeah, I mean...
Yep, backdoor dealings with old Bunky Knudsen.
Thanks, Dalton.
Bunky Knudsen's real first name was Seaman. No joke. Semen. Seaman. I'd go by Bunky too.
So, speaking of cars and stuff, I like my vintage classic automotive vinyl.
Oh, yeah.
And one I've been trying to find, and I need to look at the year real quick to get this right. I want to say this is 1956, 57, somewhere in there. 56, 57. When Cuba was still Cuba. And it's the Cuban corners when they used to do like the road racing, professional road racing through the streets of Cuba and Havana and all that. I just got this in. I have been looking for this for a long time.
Actual Cuba, not Cuba.
No, this is actual Cuba.
Mexico. Actual Cuba, not or Mexico.
Yeah, it's actually Cuba. Sounds of Sebring when they raced Sebring in Cuba. Carroll Shelby's on this and everything. So but if you look at it, look at the style of that guy in the corner. See him?
The funny thing is most of those cars are still around.
I was just about to say that.
It would be cool if that guy was still around. I'd like to have a conversation on him he.
Well, at least you'll talk to his son.
Yeah.
A car there is a family heirloom. It is passed on. I watched a couple of episodes of that Cuban Chrome stuff, and wow, those guys are amazing.
So I need to get a picture for you, Doug, and Kyle's shop. I think it's 75 feet maybe, but there's a giant banner of Cuba, the streets of Cuba, on the whole entire wall. So our friend Eddie grew up in Chicago, and he worked for a company that did all this setup stuff, right? I don't remember what it was for, but he had this giant unused banner that was on one of these bridges in Chicago. And it's Cuba. So we always talk about being in Cuba. So we actually do have a Cuban backdrop in the shop. That's 16 foot by 70 foot or 50 foot or something like that.
Sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Hey, boys. Can I interrupt you for a minute?
Yes.
I'm hitting it. I want to say thank you for letting me on, Jeff. I'm looking forward to hanging out with you two goofballs next Friday.
It's going to be a blast.
Yes, it will. And,
well, John,
make sure,
I hope you have a good night.
Good night,
make
John.
Sure, Dougie, you wear some work clothes because I'm probably going to make you clean the shitter.
All right, that's fine. Hey,
all right,
boys.
A
lathe I can put a 16-inch wheel on?
Yeah, right.
No, I'm serious. Do you have a lathe I can put a 16-inch wheel on?
Sure.
Good. I got to turn out the OD on a set of skinny minis for shop truck.
Nice.
All right, I'll see you guys Friday.
See you on Friday.
Thanks. Thank you, Principal Cope.
Yes, sir. Detention tomorrow.
Exactly.
Oh, man. Mr. Cope's such a hard ass, man.
He put us in detention. We got to clean the shitters and we got to clean the shop.
I didn't even do anything, man.
I
This
would
is
love to have
bullshit.
him as a principal.
Fucking old man Colt, man. I'm telling you, man.
But yeah, I tell you what, I am absolutely glad it is the weekend because man, it has just been absolutely crazy, absolutely crazy.
My work week flew by.
Really,
So I was lucky.
mine did not. I do 80% of what I do at home, and this week was one of my time frames where I kind of had to go in, but not every day. But man, that's just
Right.
I know it sounds so whooshiest, but when it's cold out, you just don't want to leave the house.
I wish I had that luxury. I get to load out. I get to load snack foods onto semi trucks.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that. At least you
No.
get to be outside when it's nice. We got Blaker in the house. Did you see his video on his cannon, on their potato cannons?
No.
Oh, that was freaking awesome.
Reinforce
Absolutely
the
awesome.
potato cannons, bolt stuff together, seal everything very good, inspect cannons for damage. Ask me how I know.
When I was in high school, young high school, obviously this is a campus town,
Okay.
we would make them and climb campus buildings, and there was pear trees, and there'd be kids, trash, and we'd be shooting fucking pears at them all the time.
Oh, hit somebody with a good rotten pear? Oh, man.
Yeah. So when I saw them doing that, it's like, oh, these are old good memories. Potato cannons.
Yeah. I overchooched one and it blew apart in my hands, and my hand hurt for like a week. Because
Did it break the plastic?
Yeah, all PVC. I was like 18,
Oof.
didn't know any better.
Have you seen the video of that guy cackling a nitro car and explodes?
Ooh.
Yeah, like the
No.
whole blower, everything just explodes as soon as he blips the throttle. He doesn't even get hurt. I mean, it just.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know what saved his ass, don't you? Is the enormous pile of shit in his drawers.
Oh, dude, it was bad. It was really, really, really bad. I tell you what, I couldn't imagine the sound of that.
Right? Especially being right there next to it. Well, like early 2000s, I watched like a 69 Impala or 67 Impala pop the blower off of the engine. Thank God for blower straps.
Yeah.
That was a big noise. That was a big noise.
That would have to be just crazy.
Yeah. He left. That wasn't the best explosion I've seen. My friend's 3-stage nitrous setup dropped all 3 shots all at once, right off the line.
BNR says it is a
head off of the engine.
BNR says a friend has a 68 GTO convertible 404 speed. I have to look at it yet. It says it's Roundport Ram Air 2. What color is that?
Ram Air 2? Because they went up to 4.
Yeah, 68 is the Ram Air 2, which is a hot motor.
Oh, 68. Right. Ram Air 4 didn't come till like 69 or 70.
Yeah. A friend of mine growing up, his dad had a 68 Goat. I don't know if it was Ram Air 2, but I know it was 404 speed. And the guy actually has a very low mileage OEM restored 72 455 HO 4-speed car. Ram Air, whatever that would have been that year. It's pretty nice.
You know where a 69 Grand Prix is, and it is in Carousel Red, which is that orange.
Oh yeah,
like GTO orange, and it is a 428 4-speed car. Has a Pontiac hood tack on it.
nice.
And it's a 40,000 mile car, but it has sat forever in the same spot and is completely rotted. I would like
that
to find
sucks.
another 69 because I can pick that car up for cheap. but I need a whole body.
Yeah. See, I know. So that's the problem. Like my friend that his dad, who has this car, years ago, he bought a Catalina, one of the early, if you want to call them race pet Catalinas. It wasn't one of the Swiss cheese cars, but it was a 421 tri-power four-speed car.
Yes.
And it was sat in a field, no engine and transmission. The guy was just going to give it away, but you have to make it. So he bought it for $1. And we pulled it out of the dirt, took forever. And he gave us the name of a guy who had done the machining work he had never picked up, friend of his. We went and located and got the original transmission, tri-power, everything, heads, four-speed, and everything for this car. Unfortunately, he never did anything with the car, but man, that would have been so cool. Silver blue. Okay, the one that I know of was like that champagne with a tan interior. That was a good running car too. That Ram Air too. It was a good engine.
Pontiac was my friend Craig had picked up out of Detroit a 65 2+2 Catalina 2+2 convertible, and it was a 421 4-barrel 4-speed car. And the guy stopped driving it in like 1973 because the clutch went out, and he parked it, and that was it. That car come back to life, and that thing would boil tire in 4 gears. It was amazing.
Yeah. A lot of those Pontiacs produce that low end torque. You know, like driving my friend Kyle's car with him. Yeah, it's not even close to being stock, but man, that thing is just instant torque.
Well, all the Pontiacs that I've had the pleasure of experiencing were all stock mills, 421s and 389s, 421 4-barrel, 289 389 2-barrel, and 389 4-barrel, and all were stock, and they all just chooched. Even the 2-barrel 389 was a blast.
Yes. What that one car you're talking about, is it for sale?
Yes, it is for sale.
Is it a good price?
Very. Probably get it for less than $3,000.
Oh, no shit.
Right. But that's that funny body style of Pontiac that's not popular. So it's not like I can run through a catalog and order the sheet metal. That's why I need a clean body.
Yeah.
Because
see, when I was a young teenager, there was a 69 Grand Prix sat right around the corner, super clean. And I remember late teens.
They're just gorgeous cars.
I saw it for sale, and I went over there, and it was like $2,500. Super clean. Of course, when you're that young, you ain't got no money.
Of course.
And it's like, of course, it sold, and you never saw the car again. It's like, fuck.
Yep. There's just so much elegant style to it, from the elegant door handle on the car to they're comfortable, but they're still sporty. Yeah.
Well, my friend, his dad's got that 72. It's a 72 455 HO Ram Air car, whatever, 4-speed, certain. I mean, I sent the paperwork off to PHS and have it documented. And very low production car. And it was a low miles car, but it sat outside forever. And the sheet metal was numbers matching. The sheet metal was pretty gone, but he didn't want to buy aftermarket sheet metal. So he found a 72 Le Mans, actually in the same color, that was straight as an arrow, no engine, no trans. I mean, perfectly straight. We went and picked that car up, and he used the sheet metal off that car. But that car I need to do a video on it sometime. I know the guy's got some health issues and all that, but I really need to do a video on that car. It is gorgeous. And what was the crazy part about it is the guy that had the car, it's about an hour from here, lived out on a couple acres next to like little mobile home and a garage full of junk. And this car sat in the grass and sunk, right? And there was a car you could tell sat next to it. The two cars the guy had, he bought them both brand new, and they sat. The other car was sold. It was a Petty Blue Superbird. And he had this freaking one-off oddball GTO, and it's like, holy shit. We bought him brand new back in the day. You've ever heard of Caterpillar, right?
Yep.
The town that they did all the cat stuff, especially at the time, that's where he worked, made good money, and had his hot rods and got in trouble
Yep.
or broke them, and they just sat.
There was a guy down by in southern Michigan, Sturgis Metal and Iron. There was a guy that was a big shot there, and he had a taste for air-cooled Franklins and had quite
Nice.
an air-cooled Franklin collection down in southern Michigan that I hear stories of.
We used to come across some cars every once in a while driving through the country. Some neat shit.
Yeah.
I mean, I live in a rural area, but you don't see him as much anymore. We got the Buff Del Campo in the house. I need to get in touch with you, Buff.
Stuff.
Buff, get my number from John Wilburn. I need to talk to you about some aluminum stuff. I've got some down the road when I go to do my body panels and cowl for my dragster. I have no fucking idea what I'm going to do. So I need to get in touch with you on that. Yes. And he
Sounds
built
like Jeffrey is
aircrafts.
going to-
So
Are you going to get intimate with an English wheel there, Jeffrey?
I honestly don't know. I mean, if I need to get an English wheel, I'll get an English wheel. But it's just like, you got to figure it out. And the problem is like somebody made a cowl for this car, and you need them one piece, and somebody scabbed like 4 pieces together, and it honestly was a piece of shit. And
Yeah, it looks janky.
very janky. They used the wrong thickness, aluminum, all that fun jazz. But I'm
Plus, you've
really
got that
looking.
taper in the front end that's going to be a bear to replicate to do it one piece.
Yeah, and we're looking at, we took a little bit of time off. Like I said, we're hitting, weekends 40 plus hours a week working on that thing.
Oh, yeah.
And this week I was busy. Jimmy had a lot of stuff going on, so we're kind of mentally regrouped because Jimmy and I are. He's known me. Well, he knew my dad since 1959, and
Awesome.
We don't see eye to eye on everything, right? Which is fine. So
Yeah.
like I'll throw in my videos like, oh, we hammered this out, even arguing. There's many a times where it's just like we do argue. I mean, legitimately fucking argue, and it's like, well, you kind of have to.
Yeah. But he's the old man, and that's how
Yes.
the old man works.
Yes.
Sometimes you got to throw wrenches. Sometimes you got to get your point across in a major way, just for you to understand where he's coming from. It's not
Right.
fun.
So this guy, I messaged you in the last video. Yes, I'm not too far. I have a nice 6 foot, 375 wall Dom aluminum. I need to get in touch with you. My email is 2hacksgarage@gmail.com. I do need to get in touch with you. I saw your comment. I haven't been able to respond yet to it because I've just been crazy busy. But I need to get in contact with you. Southern Illinois Speed and Sound. Email me at 2hacksgarage@gmail.com, and it's A2. In fact, I'll put it in here.
Speed and sound. I love it. Hot rods and stereos. How do you go wrong with that, right, Jeffy?
Exactly. But it's a fun project. I mean, he's built many a chassis, but we're sitting there talking, and like I'll ask him a bunch of questions, and all this fun stuff, and he's 70, pushing 71. He's like, man, I haven't done this in a while. We got to regroup, and like we're on a pretty crucial step of it right now, so we really are just like putting our heads together. I appreciate it, Southern Illinois.
I was just thinking, Jeff, you're probably going to have to pull out your inner Mickey Thompson, build a wooden buck of the tube chassis as it tapers down, and then you're going to have to beat sheet aluminum over that. Yeah.
There's quite a bit we're thinking, and that was one of them. Man, I really wish the cowl piece on it wasn't the way the guy did it, because if it was one piece, we'd have something to go off of, or where there's like the inner part of it where there's your engine mount, all that's already a radius, right? And that radius helps you form that, but he had it all wrong. And like the guy bought this car that way. Whoever built it, it was very incorrect. I couldn't see it. Jimmy saw it right away. He's like, "This is all wrong." So, but yeah.
But isn't that great? Because like you said, you didn't know any better. And then, yeah, the old man said, "Hey, wait a minute, we got a problem here."
Like I said, the rear.
Are you able to go back and rectify the problem, or is it something you might have to live with?
Oh, we're gonna rectify all of it.
Excellent. Oh, I was thinking earlier today. You know how Mick Jagger was famous for having women throw panties at him while he was on stage?
Yes.
Tied just a pair of sexy underwear on the back of the roll cage just for fun.
Yes. It's kind of funny. We had a little bit of a joke going with the parachute on that. I'll tell you about offline.
Oh, make it like big girl panties.
Yeah.
Big old bloomers.
Yeah. 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 It's gonna be a blast once we get this thing going. Like I said, we're trying to push for about a month out to be able to paint it. Hopefully, is it possible? Not 100% sure. Probably is, but
Right.
once I pull the trigger on that, things will start happening a lot quicker.
Wow.
I'm just ready to really rock and roll. I mean, my goal is June, July, but if it gets pushed back and I don't get licensed till later on, at least I can get it to the track for No Name Nationals. You know, that's my big thing.
Right. Right.
And Jimmy will be doing majority of the passes there. So that was the deal.
Old guys rule.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
How many
He's
70-year-old?
pretty-
There's a lot of 70-year-old guys that are still out, hitting the tracks and stuff. So it's
Yeah.
awesome.
And he knows his shit. He absolutely knows his shit. Tony's Hot Rod Garage. Ram Air 5 is a rare bird. Yes, it is. I like the Ram Air 5 stuff.
I've seen Ram
I've
Air
seen
4.
quite a bit of it. And I've talked to BNR a lot about the Ram Air 5 stuff, and he makes a lot of good points on the downfalls, I guess, of the Ram. Like, I view it as like a unicorn, and I know he does too, but he also sees the miscalculations, if you want to call it, Pontiac did with it. I mean, it was a tunnel port head by far. That's what I like about it. That tunnel port design, like the Ford 427 stuff, was just amazing. And what Pontiac did with it was a game changer. It would have been neat to see what they would have been able to do if they just didn't shut that down.
Oh, yeah. They had something good. I got to say one thing, though. BNR, over the years of talking to him over live chats and stuff, has given me some really solid information. So BNR is pretty damn good.
Yes, he is. He's a very smart guy. Very smart guy.
Hell yeah.
And BNR, the Super Duty 455 was mostly designed by Skip Neal and Herb Adams. And yeah, that 455, the Super Duty stuff was pretty freaking awesome. He told me about that, and like I've spent so much time researching like everything else, and I started researching more on that Super Duty stuff, even in the 73. That was a kick-ass motor.
The Super Duty 455 is still in that same engine family from 326 up to 455 HO, but Super Duty is all by itself. It's made of different materials. The main caps are of a different material.
Right.
The Super Duty is all by itself, and it's a bad mamma jamma. And basically, from what I understand, General Motors did it just because they could sneak it past. So it was just one of those things. We don't need to do it, but we're going to because we can. I love that.
Yeah, and they did it. And that's what I like. It's kind of like unfortunately, when you start reading up on some of the what ifs and you look at the A279 or A249, whatever it was, the ball stud Hemi. I mean, that thing could have been a game changer.
It really
was not.
We would have got a big black Chevy valve train out of the deal. It would have been a porcupine. And those things would have came in 400 and 444 cubic inches.
Yeah. Pretty wild, very wild stuff.
I mean, the crazy thing is how far along they went with the ball stud Hemi. I mean, Dick Landy had like 7 of them.
I know.
That he was playing with. And then, all of a sudden they pulled the plug on it and everything. Well, I think it was they seen the writing on the wall and they just knew the gas guzzling engines. But
they started putting that thing into I guess, test and design in like 1969. I mean, that thing was,
Wow.
I mean, it had been going for, I didn't realize that. And I saw that one that Tom Hoover built in that, one that
Tom Hoover.
everyone says got
Yeah.
ruined.
Ram Charger.
You know, but man, that thing was just wild. And I was looking at it and I saw all the pictures of it. And it's like, man, like I could only imagine what could have been with that car with or that engine with a factory roller cam and like a mid-rise dual quad setup or something, you know.
You ever seen pictures of the Doomsday Hemi?
Yes.
Oh my God, that's like a Hemi on steroids.
I tell you another good one. I don't know if you've ever seen it or not. I've mentioned it a few times. Is the Westlake 318. It was designed for like Indy and type of stuff. It was 318 cubic inch
Okay.
LA engine that had direct injection, like tunnel port style heads. Look that
Nice.
up sometime. In fact, let me see if I can't find one. Let's see here. They did a lot of different stuff.
One of my favorite things, I'm a big Smokey Unic fan, and I love anything Smokey just because that guy thought so far outside of the box that he took the box and he made cool shit out of it. And,
Yes, he did.
I just love the story of his de-stroked 300 cubic inch small block Chevy with a turbo that was beating Cosworths
Yeah.
on the Indy track.
Isn't that wild?
That's just one of the many things. That guy was just, oh my God, he was on another level.
So if you look at this engine right here, this Westlake 318. See if I can't blow this thing up.
Oh, okay. I think I've seen this in a museum.
Yeah. Isn't that wild?
Oh yeah. You want to see something that'll really blow your mind? Look up a Hemi-headed Oldsmobile.
I've seen that. I saw that. That thing was wild.
Wild. I gotta find it, but I have a little pamphlet from like Motion Oldsmobile or something, and in it has a 455 that's plumbed for nitrous, and it's on a rotating display like for Autorama.
No shit.
Yeah, it is, and on the cover of it, it has a Hemi-headed Oldsmobile V8 on an engine stand.
Very cool.
Oh yeah, it's just crazy.
BNR says the Ram Air 5 was supposed to receive a factory solid roller cam. Prototype dyno mules in 67, 68 had roller solids.
Wow.
See, that thing would have just been a high revving son of a bitch.
Oh my God. Well, I don't know because it's a Pontiac and most of those things don't like going over 5,500 in stock form.
I
If
could
you-
see that
if
one
you-
screaming. BNR, if you know what the RPM limit is on those Ram Air 5s like that, throw it in the chat. I'd be really interested.
That would be really interesting. I'd be surprised if it was happy over 5,500.
Oh, man. Yeah. I know my buddy Kyle's car likes to rev, but the heads on that are really...
But it's built.
It is very, very, very,
Right.
very built. And it's Kaufman heads, Kaufman intake. It's highly fuel injected. It's got a roller cam in it. I think 11-1. But that thing, I mean, 6,000, it's still pulling, which is crazy.
Well, look at a 440 Mopar. Those things will, in stock form, they'll pull themselves right into the grave.
Yes, they will.
Yeah, you can push them right over the edge. 383s, they won't do that. But a 440, pull itself into the grave.
Yes. I believe this is the engine that you're talking about. That one right there?
It says Oldsmobile in the valve cover. I believe that's it. I can't hardly see it.
So
Okay,
they
I'm
actually...
going to go blind guy for a minute. Yes, that's it.
So
I'm
they
not
actually
looking at the
designed that. I think I want to say Buick built one too. But they were playing around with, I think, some Weber stuff too.
Oh yeah.
I could be wrong.
Well, Buick, the principle of like the Hemi head, and basically because they had such crappy fuel at the time, Chrysler was trying to make a as efficient chamber as possible, and I guess the nail head was GM's Hemi head. Same idea was being utilized to try to get the biggest bang for our buck with low octane fuel.
Right.
Are those
Yeah, even,
castings of those Oldsmobile heads?
Yeah.
Awesome.
That's the Pontiac Hemi head that Mickey Thompson did.
Oh, you know what? I just found out about that, and I'm a big Mickey Thompson fan, and I just found out about the fact that he was making Hemi heads for Pontiac.
Yeah.
Boy, I bet you if you had a pair of those that were usable, they'd be worth bang.
Yes. BNR says the 303 Tall Deck, which was the Ram Air part of the Ram Air 5 program, well known with Ram Air 5, turned 8,000 RPMs. I could see that though.
Could you imagine winding that thing up and shifting it on the top? Let that Big Daddy walk.
Hello, Big Block Kings. Hope your evening is going well.
Big Block Kings. I like it.
That's a great name.
It really is.
I always played around in the world of small blocks, and I know Pontiac doesn't have a big block, but like whatever, I'm just going to call it a big block.
Right.
But Kyle's car was like, wow. And then I, really loved that. Then I decided to do my Ford, and it's like major cubic inch big block. It is just a whole different ball game. Whole different ball game. So how's your Mopar build going? What's that?
Oh, mine?
Yeah.
It's going pretty good right now. I'm still trying to, I got to order some head gaskets. And then right now I've got a plate of inch thick aluminum, and I'm going to be making intake spacers so I can use my 383 tunnel ram on my RB engine block.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, I got a friend of mine who's got a little machine shop, so I'm hoping to carve them out of the plate, take them over there, and hopefully he'll let me play on his machine equipment while he stands over my shoulder. But it may happen, it may not.
Yeah, Big Black Kings 455. Pontiac really doesn't have a
correct,
technically a big block. I consider it a big block, yes. But like their blocks were just, it's like AMC with their 290 to 390, the 343s, all that was the same block, just different bore and stroke. But I personally consider a 455. I mean, the bores on those things are big. It's got a big stroke. Right. I consider all that. I do consider it a big block. I know there's that whole debate about it, but I can tell you what, it pulls like a big block.
It really does. So in that engine series, from the 326, and actually there's a smaller engine than that, and I can't think of its displacement, but 326, 350, 389, 400, 389, 400, 421, for 421, 428, 455, 455, not 455 HO. Yeah, 455 HO. It's all the same block. Now, the castings aren't as thick, so I can't take a 326 and turn it into a 455. I don't have enough meat, but all parts interchange. So all cylinder heads interchange. It's all the same.
Nice.
So there is no, in that engine series, there is no big block Pontiac. It's all the same block.
Southern Illinois and Speed. I'm building my top dragster from scratch to complete with the fast pro charged Hemis and big block Chevys in the country. I built a twin turbocharged 365 LX space engine, but my car will weigh lighter. That's badass. I'm shooting for, because I'm going small block Chevy and I'm small. I'm shooting for around 1550. The car I bought was actually an old Top Fuel car, and we cut the first 11 feet of it off, and it was still certified, but we decided to change everything. So I really need to see that car. That sounds really badass.
What kind of speed do you think you're going to wrangle out of this?
Dude, I have no idea. I'm hoping to be low fives, low mid fives at first on methanol. I mean, it's going to be 302 cubic inch ish small block Chevy with Hillborn
I
injection.
don't have enough meat to go with my potatoes, huh?
That's really interesting with the twin turbo 365 cubic inch LS based engine. That's pretty badass. I am definitely looking forward to getting in this dragster and just having a whole lot of fun. I mean, we've got all kinds of other vintage speed and performance parts that Jimmy's hung on to for years. And, you know, there's an engine we're putting together that's going to be 409 cubic inch.
Sure is fine. That for
It's going to be wild, but like I need to learn on something that's going to be a little different at first. But, you know,
quote slow.
yes. Okay, so here he says mid sixes, quarter mile over 200 on a blown through carb. That's fast. That's fast. In other
I was
words,
thinking you're going to be in like 170 range, wouldn't you, Jeff?
probably not that fast. I would say closer 130, 140. Oh, we'll find out. I'm guessing in that range, but I mean it's 4.9-inch, 430 gears, power glide. It's dead and bare. The Reed blow-proof bell with a trans brake, 5500 stall. It'll be fun. Yeah, John, 1550 dry, 1607 with me in it. Yeah, that's about right. See, that's my advantage. That's my advantage right there. I can't wait to drive it. I can't wait to hit that button and go.
Well, and the best part is Jimmy's later going to weld up this special little basket right in behind the back of the axle, so they can line it with velvet, and that's a place for Jeff's gonads to sit.
Oh, I know. Hello, Chris Customs. It's gonna be very interesting. Like I said, I've never been in this world. I've been around it a lot. I mean, for decades, but like, I've never done it. And I was talking to Jimmy, and I said, "Man, what's it like driving one of these?" And he goes, "If you're taking your car that was never meant for drag racing with all that power out on country roads doing what you're doing," he goes, "you'll be fine." I said, "Okay, then what do I need to do?" He's just like, "Do a burnout, go up the lane, and just go." And I'm like, "Just go." He's like, "Yeah, just go." And I'm like, "Oh, this is great for someone who's extremely technical." Yeah. Pontiac was really into SCCA. Yeah. B&R Pontiac was really into SCCA Trans Am racing. The Boss 302 and DZ 302 were that good. Yes, and the funny part about this is, so they had the 305, I think, cubic inch limit in SCCA, and right. Ford had the 302, Chevy had the 302, obviously Pontiac had the 303. Chrysler had their de-stroked 340, but they never put that in production. I actually reached out to the company, I want to say it was Cola, that made those cranks for SCCA. And I said, "I want to get one of these cranks. Do you still have them?" They said, "Yeah, we'll still make them for you." $4,500.
Woof. Be right back. Got to take a pause with the cause.
Okay. I'm 210 pounds, but working on my way down to 190 race weight. Damn safety equipment will put me back at 210. Yeah, I'm looking at that too. There's quite a bit of that safety stuff, but that's a good thing, though. I'm sure that race day with all that equipment on, you'll lose 5 pounds just sweating. He needs a glass window on the axle housing to look down and see the teeth of that ring gear. It's kind of funny because we put that 1-inch plug in the back, and Jimmy was joking. He's like, "Don't get your junk put in there." I'm like, "Nope." What gears they run in that class? I'll be running 430s. It's a pro gear. What I pulled out of it was a 370 and a Strange. Yes, Lars 220s in the house. Tomorrow is 57 Chevy Friday, everybody. It's a national holiday. Every vintage Trans Am had power steering, power brakes, and Posi Traction standard equipment. Power front brake stays too. B&R, is it true that in '68, when the Ram Air 2 was announced for the GTO midway year, I know it was standard for the Ram Air 2 goats to get the 430 ring and pinion, but is it true most of them actually didn't get it? That's the question I have. Lars must be cold. He needs to get himself a blanket and his limited liability. Actually, wouldn't that be LLC? I got to think of something good for that. Let me think on that one. Kellogg cranks made, all special forged cranks for Pontiac. It is quite cold here in Illinois too. Very cold, so I better. It's not really a blanket, but there. Is that better there, Lars? Nice and cold. Limited learning capacity. Oh, it's an inside joke. Someone who decided to take a big shit on a lot of us for no reason. But, yeah, the SCCA stuff is really cool. It's kind of funny because, like, BNR knows this, but when it comes to engines, there is no in-between for me. I like the super high revving, tiny cubic inch stuff and the super giant stroke big block stuff. So it's like 302, 521, that type of stuff. Everything in between is still cool. I just prefer the opposite ends of the spectrum. LP94 Lars, that is a good one. Living Life Confused. I do like that one. Makes a lot of sense for people that have the LLC on their name that don't quite need it. I thought LLC was lounging, lazy, and cranky. No, Jeff, they had 390 or 433 gears. Yeah, but weren't they supposed to get that? But a lot of them didn't get it actually installed. Like they weren't available yet. I'm pretty sure I was watching something on that where a lot of people had the real deal cars and they had never been apart, and they opened stuff up for restoration, whatever, found out that it was never actually done. I could be mistaken, though. But yeah, tomorrow's Friday. I'm really glad that Southern Illinois Speed and Sound hopped in because I saw the comment. Like I said, I hadn't responded yet. Definitely need to hook up with you on some of that dragster stuff. The guy that I work with. He did it for years, got out of it, all that type of stuff. But he's very smart with it. I have not polished the No Name Nationals duck. I still have it, though. And I even got a new one. I got a new hood ornament, too, which is kind of neat. I'll show you here in a second. The duck is kind of a cool thing because, like...
I want the duck.
You don't want the duck because you... Yeah, but you have to break to get it. That's the problem.
Oh.
So what happened was I had it on my car because I really like the convoy duck, the death-proof duck, whatever you want to call it. And
it's convoy duck.
Convoy duck. So I was going to race in 2022. I was going to race Ryan from Streetcar Chronicles. Obviously, I toasted a transmission, never got to race him, and his car was making popcorn. So we decided, since both of us, our cars were just junk at the time, that we were going to give the duck away. Him and I were going to pick like the best break of the weekend, right? So we gave the duck away as like who had the best break. And it came down to a couple people and all that, and it was kind of shared. But the thing is no one gets to keep the duck.
It's a traveling trophy.
It's a traveling trophy.
Trophy.
I broke this year and had to be pushed off. So I got my fucking duck back. But it's still cool. But I mean, I'm hoping somebody else gets it.
Oh yeah, somebody's. And but the sad thing is that, and it wasn't it was a very anticlimactic win because your starter died, didn't it?
Yes, it did. I made some mistakes that weekend. A couple of them were in a hurry. I should have just let it cool down. That car makes so much cylinder pressure. Spent so much money on everything else doing it right, and I went with a cheapo Chinesium starter that I knew I was having problems with. Whatever, but it still like it was just comical. Dougster, John wants to know if you're participating this year. You got to participate this year.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm thinking about what I'm going to be sleeping in, and I think I'm going to be using my little single axle trailer. It's like 8x5. I think I'm going to haul all my gear in that, and then that's going to serve as my tent once I'm all set up.
Nice.
So yeah, I will be participating.
How far of a drive you got?
From me to you, we're like 4 hours. So basically add 4 hours or three hours to your drive.
That's nice.
Mine. So if
That's
anything,
pretty awesome.
maybe I could cruise down and we could like cruise together.
That works with me. I literally hop on 55. So Interstate 39 through Wisconsin and Illinois. I live right off of that. And I'm 10 minutes from 55, which is Chicago to St. Louis and all that. But you can take Chicago, you take 55, you can take it all the way to Louisiana, into New Orleans, if you want to hit I-10. But you just take 55, and 55 literally dumps you right off by the track. It's 4 hours, 4.5 hours.
Okay.
It's such a blast. Like, I like it because I've been to so many races, and for so many years at racetracks, I was working, right? I had a lot of good friends there, but you're working. Right. And then I've been to a lot of races where you don't know anybody, and this one is totally different just for the fact of no one really, you want to win, obviously. You don't want to lose. You don't really want to break, but nobody gives a shit. Like, I could go out there right now and spend a quadrillion dollars on building something. BNR shows up with a daily driver and whips my ass. I don't give a shit. It's the name of the game. And I thought it was great for BNR this year. Somebody made a video roasting him, right? Just absolutely roasting him about not making it and setting up this fake race and all that. And they didn't show up. Now, technically, it wasn't 100% their fault. I'll be transparent on that. But BNR showed up and was hot lapping. So somebody tried getting one in on him, and it didn't quite work. And BNR shows up and hot laps his 454 truck. He's just, and I just thought that was comical because he got roasted, but he was the one that showed up and raced.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. He needs to get his Trans Am done. He's actually got a real Ram Air 4-speed 70 Trans Am. That thing needs to hit the track. Yeah,
wow.
He's also got a 63 Grand Prix. That's more of like a road car, but it's pretty wild.
Ooh.
But yeah.
Ooh, 63 Grand Prix, drugstore approved.
Yeah, Mopar did build a kick-ass mini starter. It has that very unique sound.
Yes,
very unique sound.
This old guy that my friend Eddie from the east side of the state, I call him East Side Eddie. He lives over in the west by me now, but he said his old man that he grew up with always called him Dodge.
Yeah,
because of the starter.
And John makes a good point. And you notice that stopped all the flack BNR got. The community gives respect when it's earned. Yeah, and
that's right.
He showed up and raced, and the people that were giving him flack didn't. Yeah, like I said, not to be transparent, not 100% their fault, but BNR showed up and just hot lapped that thing.
All of us,
which I think is pretty damn cool. Pretty damn cool. Show up and just hot lap. Yeah, yeah. You're among. That's the whole thing. That's the whole thing. It's like you become friends with like everybody there. You hang out on lives all year long. I get to see some of these guys more often. Like I'll see a bunch of these guys at Mopar, the Indy Swap Meet, because that's only a couple hours away. I'll see John Cope next weekend. I saw John last year at PRI. I saw other people at PRI this week, or this year, and it was nice. And like, here's a good point, Lars. BNR showed up, shook everyone's hand. Respect, exactly. Exactly. And this place, what I really like about it that I took away from it, dude, I'm telling you, like even being our guy, him and I got into it a lot last year. Literally got into it a lot last year. Not at the track. We got to the track, shook his hand, hung out, watched him race, took some video for him. He helped me load because I was having some problems with shit.
Right.
That's respect right there.
Right.
I mean, that's pure respect. Everyone there is so respectful.
He owned it is what happened. He just owned it.
Yes.
Look, guys, I messed up. I'm sorry. I own it.
We all messed up. Yeah, we
That's-
all messed
you know
up in
what?
some ways.
It takes a big man to admit that he was wrong. So good for him.
And we all did. And we all did. And everyone gets past it. Everyone moves on. What I really like about it is like, I just left my T-Bird out sitting there. I mean, there's no keys. You just hit a freaking button. You know, tools laying out. People's got shit everywhere. No one fucks with a goddamn thing.
No.
You know, and nobody does that. Everyone looks out for each other.
Right.
Everybody looks out for each other. And that's what I really like. You ain't got to worry about shit. Like I stayed at a hotel because I had my son. My dad was with me. And, you know, a friend of mine went with me. You know, he didn't really know. And he's like, you going to lock your car? I'm just fucking leaving it. No one's going to take it. What's the worst thing they do? Like play a joke? Oh, well, you know.
Right.
A lot of fun. It was a lot of fun.
I used to go for a really long time doing living history stuff. Like we represented the fur trade, like 1800
Yes.
to 1840. We got to go play Daniel Boone for the weekend. And
Yes.
we'd stay in white canvas lodges. We'd dress the part. We'd have coolers and stuff, but everything's hidden. So it looks like period correct stuff. That's what we were shooting for.
Yes.
And it was a whole bunch of fun. So, and you would be surprised how expensive it is to look like you're poor. And
that's the other thing with this event. There's not big money. We all work hard. We all play hard.
right,
It's
Right.
really it's a very even playing field. Wendy makes probably the best point. We are not friends. We're not. We are family, and that's true.
well,
Because if I was driving to No Name Nationals or Tony or Lars or anybody that goes and they saw Wendy broke down, they'd have her taken care of like that.
Oh God, yeah. They make
And,
sure
you know,
she's
and
sat
vice
in the
versa.
car, and I'll go up and talk to her while everyone else does the work.
And vice versa. You know, like I met Wendy and Don there the first year, and very, very nice people. I love listening to Don talk. You know, and like Don would do these lives.
Oh, yeah.
He was so dedicated to getting that car done, doing his lives, and he's doing headporting work at the same time. It's like that's pretty cool. And I like the
Headporting
vacuum
work is
cleaner
no
stories
joke.
Wendy
I got
sold.
to experience that. That's no joke.
And JB,
And I know-
howdy, yeah.
Sorry, Jeff.
No, it's fine, but I mean everybody. It's actually the community, and like you show up there. I think what's funny is we're all YouTube people, if you want to call that, right? And but no one's, the cameras are. I mean, people are filming, of course, but the cameras are off for the most part because people finally get to talk to their other,
Right.
you know, other than
Right.
on a live.
Right.
Which I think is pretty awesome. I like
Right.
this community.
And
I think
to
you have a really
actually
good time.
physically be with someone and talk to. I mean, you know these guys. It would just be so
Yeah.
crazy. Just like, you know, it's going to be surreal for me to go down next weekend or next Friday and walk into Cope's shop and talk to Cope and hang out
Yes.
with you. It's going to be like, really? I get to do this? Wow.
Dude, Cope's an
cool.
awesome guy.
Oh, yeah.
Cope's an awesome guy.
Cope, I'm going to tell Cope this to his face, but Cope makes me think of my dad's friends from Chicago and when I was a kid.
Yeah.
It's just
I-
how he is how those guys were.
I spent a weekend with him in Bowling Green, Kentucky for Holly Mo Party. And
Yep.
that was an absolute blast. I mean, that we didn't have to worry about nothing because we weren't racing, we weren't setting anything up for, you know, his business. We literally just had a really good time and cruising his motorhome, crashing his motorhome. And what's really funny is when I did all this
Nice.
stuff with Norm, one of the guys I traveled with all the time was like 2 motorhomes down from us. And John's like, how do you know that guy? I know that guy very well. I'm like, dude, I used to be with that guy every weekend. And so I hadn't seen him forever, so it was kind of nice. Yeah, like Lars says. Lars says, I didn't hardly film this last year. Figured hell everyone else is going to watch this. Here's already. Exactly. I didn't. I did, but then it was like, I just like, you know what? I'm just going to enjoy myself. Race, break things, get pushed off the track. I don't give a shit. It's fun. And I made such a bad mistake. I was in a hurry. I'm usually one that's not going to cut corners in a hurry. And I wanted to get out there towards the end of the day and race. And I keep carb hats on my car, right? And when I have my velocity stacks, I would flip them up. You can't see them. Fire that thing up. Thing's running like shit. I had no idea. Dies right on the track. I'm like, I choked my own car out over something really stupid.
Left the cap on it.
Yes.
Oops.
Yes.
That sounds like something I
Pulled
would
them
do.
off. Fired it up. Just fucking nailed it and took off down the track.
Or you light up your bike and forget to turn the petcock on, and you take off, and then it runs out of fuel.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Gas on.
We got
dummy?
Junkyard D in the house.
Junkyard D.
Junkyard. Yes. And when I see that, I always think JYD, Junkyard Dog.
Junkyard Dog.
80s. Remember him from the 80s?
Oh yeah. I always walk around work because we always are breaking pallets, and every so often I'll have to pick up wood off the dock floor, and I'll have a big old chunk of wood in my hand. And I hold it over my head. Hacksaw Jim Dugan. Oh.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And unless people understand what I'm talking about, that's okay.
Hacksaw Jim Duggan was hilarious. Absolutely hilarious.
That and the Bushwhackers, because they bite people. Oh,
yeah. Or the
we got the Super Youper in here. Nice.
Who was the God? What were those? Who were the brothers that had the shoulder pads with the spikes?
The Road Warriors.
Road Warriors.
The Road Warriors. Then there was the Steiner brothers, if you remember them. They came out wearing University of Michigan varsity coat.
BNR. Jeff, do you know the 69 DZ302 Z28 was first non-Corvette to receive? Yes, the optional four-wheel disc brakes. It also had a one-off exhaust system you could get with it. Ooh. Legion of Doom. That's it.
Legion of Doom. Wilburn for the win.
So here's something cool. Turbo Tom, thanks for the video on the Model T. His mom loved it. Model T, like I've seen a million, never been in a riding one. And Tom's like, let's go for a ride. And like I did not understand. I never knew the intricacies of it. Like still blows my mind. On the steering wheel column, there's like a timing control that you do your timing with. It doesn't do it by itself. Then there's like the coils inside. I mean, that was actually really, really cool. It's like I got to do a video on this. And after I rode in that thing, I'm going, man, that is a fucking cool car.
Did they let you drive it, Jeff?
No, I mean, he probably would have, but I didn't ask. But like, I was too busy asking questions and going for a ride.
Because at the Gilmore Car Museum, that also is very close to where I live. That's where the turbine car lives. A turbine car lives. They have in the summertime a Model T driver's ed, where you pay money and you get slated time, and they take you and you get to cruise around the complex in a Model T.
Nice.
And they teach you how to drive one, and you get to cruise it a little bit so you get an experience for a little bit of money. Plus the whole.
I think it's cool. I think it's cool. They're such a cool vehicle. And when I was a kid. Oh, go ahead.
There is a gentleman that lives near me. He's now passed on. He was a Model T enthusiast, but he collected Model T speed parts.
No shit.
Yes, he had heads ported by Louis Chevrolet himself. He had headers. He was big into hot Model Ts.
When I was a kid, for the longest time, up through teenager, probably early 20s, where my grandpa lived, there was a guy across the street that had like, I don't know, 2 or 3 garages that were built like by each other, and he was
Yep.
big into Ford Flathead stuff. And this
Ooh.
garage was full of Ford Flathead stuff. You name it, performance. He had
Yeah.
Arden heads in there, the real old school Arden heads.
Wow.
Yes. The guy was cool as shit.
Wow. Do you guys ever watch Iron Trap Garage?
No, but it sounds like a cool channel.
Okay, the guy is big into the flathead street rods, and he's out of Pennsylvania, and he runs all over the United States getting 40 era flathead Ford parts. And he had a haul that I just watched a video on. He got a whole room of flathead speed parts.
Nice.
I mean, a whole room. It was like a 12 by 12 room, and half of the floor was taken up by sets of flathead cylinder heads. That were
Yeah.
leaned up against the wall. It was amazing. NOS.
See, that's
parts,
cool shit
everything.
to me.
Yes, yes. It's real worth watching. This guy and then he goes to Chi-Town and makes a big old pick too of a bunch of Ford stuff.
See, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome. Some of
this
that,
guy is really cool.
some of that stuff's neat. Lars, what's Lars have to say here? I'll forever be able to say I started a 1916 Model T in Missouri. Who would have thought? And that's the crazy part. Lars is younger than me.
Right.
I'm 44. Those cars are older than all of us. You just never know what you're going to run into a place like that. B&R, it'd be fun to see more vintage cars from the 20s into the 50s at No Name National. Yeah, but that's going to take, obviously, people coming into the community and all that. I tell you what, one of my favorite cars of all time, so I love the movie, I would love to have a Christine. I would love to have
They're a
that
beautiful
car.
car, aren't they?
Yes, they are.
I would
Yes,
love
they
to
are.
have a Dodge Brothers coupe.
Oh, that would be nice.
The one that
That
actually
would be
says
super
Dodge
nice.
Brothers right on the hood.
Yeah. Even some of the old Pontiacs, like the Star Chiefs and all that, those were neat.
Oh, yeah.
Then you had some of the
I always
stuff
like
that
the looks of the
was it
40 Pontiac. 40 Pontiac's a cool looking ride.
with the straight 8, I think they were. Super low compression though. I think they were super low, but still straight 8. That's a huge engine.
Come on, it's a straight 8. Even if it's super low compression, it's a straight 8. That thing's gonna pull like a freight train.
Yeah, it don't need much, just keeps going.
Right. I mean, yeah, you don't have a lot of chooch, but boy, you got the torque. I
tell you what would be neat is I know people do the kits and all that, but I like the 5-window coupes and all that.
Yeah.
Those are pretty cool. The Model T was $398 to 1. I do metal just to stick with the time. The Model T was $398 to 1. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, all those Mopars are so cool. Oh man, I tell you what, something about Mopar, they just did some neat shit.
Yes.
See a Duesenberg SSJ supercharged racing at N. That would be cool as shit.
There are 3 Duesenbergs on 2 or 3 Duesenbergs at the Gilmore Car Museum.
Now, if you had a car, if anybody in the chat, if you had endless money, what car would you race at the No Name Nationals? If you were to say, hey, here's a blank check, go buy a car and go race it. If you want to show up and make a statement, what would it be?
It would be a coffin nose cord supercharged 38.
That's unique. It's very unique.
At the time, that thing was a Bugatti Veyron.
That's very unique.
Yes. 4-wheel disc brakes in the 30s. Amelia Earhart drove one of those. Fast as shit for the time. Tom Mix, the famous actor cowboy, killed himself in one driving too fast.
DDG, yes, I have seen those tandem axles. Those are cool. White Trash Motorsports says Top Fuel funny car. You're almost close to what I was going to say. I would love to have Norm 65 AFX.
Ooh.
That's what I would love to have and show up. And oddly enough, I think I know where it's at. That would be
For real?
what I,
Cool.
yeah, I think I do. 79 AMX, cool car.
Cool car.
But that would be cool. A 65 AFX, nitro blown Hemi. I would do it just like they did in the 60s, lay out the rosin, do the burnouts, and
Yes.
just fucking stab it.
Yes.
Fuel altered would be a cool one. I tell you else would be cool, and it's not a drag car, but it would make a statement. Since I was a kid, it's been one of my favorite cars. It's the Lamborghini Countach from Cannonball Run. How cool would it be to go flying down that side road with that unique sound, come flying in there, line up, and just zoom down the track, and then just take off, go to Lambert's, go to jail. Lars LP94 Hemi under glass. I know where that sits. If you ever want to see it, I know the guy that hauls it around. Well, it's one of many that have been recreated, but yeah, that thing runs on methanol.
We're going into my.
Ooh, here's a very specific one by BNR Racing. Malcolm McKellar's personal 63 Grand Prix with his one-off single red cab, 3-valve, 421 4-speed. There you go.
Hemi under glass. Yeah, that
one. The newer one. The one that Jay Leno crashed. Byron Filkins 57 off the police department in LA. Put it back to its glory days and send it.
They've got multiple ones of those, but yeah, the one that Jay Leno crashed. That's funny.
Yeah.
I mean, there he is. He just had a tragic accident, and that dude is getting talked to by EMTs and making jokes. It's awesome.
Yes. Just borrow the Hemi under glass and bring it. That would be cool. So when, God, what is his name that drove the car for all those years? Bob Riggle. When Bob Riggle passed away, they had it painted up in memory, and they did just a drive down the track as a memorial for him at Holly Mo Party. But that is if you ever get to see the inner workings of that, boy, talk about some engineering that went in. And the original design was drawn on a napkin.
Well, the Plymouth Superbird was drawn on a bar napkin.
Yeah. Yeah. I would love to have.
Division was dissolved in the 70s, and then Chrysler offered all of the engineers jobs in other sectors, but not rocketry because it was being dissolved. So the guy that worked in the aeronautics side went over to work for Chrysler making car bodies. They're at lunch, and they say they're already working with the Charger 500 to make it more aerodynamic, and it isn't working. So they talk to him. So what would you do to make this car faster? And he's sitting there eating his lunch, and he sketches out on a bar napkin the sloped nose and the wing higher than the roof of the car on the bar napkin. And that is the beginning of the Plymouth Superbird.
See, stuff like that to me is cool. Another cool car, I think, which would be probably an absolute handful. An absolute handful to race down the track would be TV Tommy Ivo's Hearst Harry Olds, that recreation we had as the wagon. The 4-engine, 4-wheel drive thing would be freaking awesome.
Wasn't that 4 nailheads?
Yeah.
4 nailhead Buicks?
Yeah.
Yeah, that thing's wild.
That would be fun.
And Tommy Ivo.
Either that or if you. What about the Greeks? Hydrazine powered 200-mile-an-hour pass at Alton, that car.
Oh yeah, or the what was that thing? The Turbodyne or whatever, that engine that went into your rear axle.
Yes, Turbonique. Yeah, the Turbonique.
Yeah.
Yes, for street style cars, I would say a bone stock GNX. That is a badass car.
All right, I got a GNX story. A friend of mine's father was a GM executive. He bought a GNX brand new, and he asked them not to dealer prep the car. He received it just as it came off of the hauler, drove it 14 miles to his house and parked it and never moved it until after he died when my friend inherited the GNX in 2004. And
Huh.
he literally drove that car to Ohio for a suitcase full of money then.
So this is interesting. Does anybody know anything about that blue 55 Chevy Roadster? Kind of look like an altered. No, but I remember reading an article. It was 64, 65, like Chevelle Malibu, and it was on a flip top frame, steel body, center drive that had a hopped up V16 Allison in it.
Yes. I know
Oh,
where
here's
3
one
of
we
those
all
engines
missed.
are.
The General Lee 69 from Dukes of Hazzard. That would have been a cool one too. That would have been a real cool one.
Really cool.
See, there's so many cars that would just, would just make a statement going down. I could see Wendy doing that. I could see Wendy right off the freaking bat nailing that thing and hitting the horn. Just don't roll it or jump it. BNR says another fun car would be a Lingenfelder Supernatural 383 C4 Corvette.
That would be fun.
It'd be a fun one. The Jelly Belly Stagecoach. That's a fun car.
Do you guys remember
There's so many
the
fun
custom
cars.
car, the Boot Hill Express?
Yeah.
It was
Yeah, there's a lot of cool cars that you could take. I'm trying to think of the name of the car now. I can see it on top of my head. It was an AFX car. It was a Dodge Dart, one of the smaller ones, the Harry Canary.
the
Look that
Harry
up
Canary.
sometimes. Yeah, it was like a 65 Dart. It was yellow and black, and I want to say it had a nitro blown 392 Hemi in it.
Oh God.
Yes, it was center drive, but I don't know who the drivetrain has. I gotta find that out.
Dude, I need to send you some pictures that my friend Gnarly Charlie sent me on his Hillborn stuff. He's got 2 complete Hillborn setups, and he's keeping both of them. That was the whole reason why I was trying to get those from him for you.
I've got my front drive plate. I just need to get a fuel pump.
You need a fuel
I have
pump.
one, but yeah. Lingenfelder Supernatural will be reliable, bracket, hot lap, nonstop. Straight up your alley, BNR. That would be fun to watch.
Hell
Dust
yeah.
Devil. I would love to drive a kit from Knight Rider down the track. That would be cool. Actually, another cool one would be the A-Team van. Just pile everybody in it. Just go.
Well, it sounds like they're encouraging themes this year at the No Name, and it would be cool if somebody got a Torino and painted it Starsky and Hutch, and they tried to dress the part and talk like them and stuff. That would be really cool.
I think what White Trash Motorsports is saying, if I'm not incorrect here, wouldn't that be the truck from Smokey and the Bandit? How about,
Yes,
there you
it
go.
would.
How about this? So you have the Smokey and the Bandit semi, Sam's driving it, and I'll drive the Trans Am, and we'll drag race down the drag strip. That would be fun to
Wear a
watch.
cowboy hat, 2 hacks.
I'd do that. I'd do that in a heartbeat. I'd grow a mustache for that.
Oh yeah, 2 hacks
Grow a
with a porno mustache. Well, he is ladies and gentlemen, Jeff is the East Coast Johnny Sins.
Yes, yes. Oh, another one that would be fun too, since Sam brought it up. Smokey and the Bandit, but what about the cars from like Hooper and all that?
Oh,
Or
yeah.
White Lightning, all the Burt Reynolds cars.
Ooh.
The Snowman,
The
yes.
one who was in Gunsmoke.
Yeah. Yeah. All that stuff. So Jerry Reed I am not by far a country fan music, but I like the old outlaw stuff, but some of the stuff Jerry Reed did was just unreal. I got to see him play at a
Just
county
a
fair.
good old boy. That's all he was. I mean, the guy that we all know, that character, I don't think he was a character. I think that was just him 24/7. He was
I got
just
to
a
see
good
him
old
play
boy
at
and
a
ball of fun.
Yep, I got to see him play in my early 20s at a county fair and the county fair had a figure eight crash up derby going on too.
Yeah.
I was like, that's America
Yeah.
right there. I mean, it was cheap beer, good food, a crash up figure eight derby, and Jerry Reed.
God bless
That was pretty
America.
awesome. Yeah, and coincidentally, it was in the same town that I saw David Allen Coe play in a bar one night.
Oh yeah.
That was cool. That was quite an experience. Live life once, right? Make
So
sure you
I'm
do
a
it 9
huge
times
fan-
once.
I'm a huge fan of Commander Cody and his Lost Planet Airmen.
Yeah.
So one day, my friend sends me video. He was on business, and he goes to a bar in any town, USA, and who the hell is playing but Commander Cody and his Lost Planet Airmen? He's sending me video. He's sitting there drinking beer, listening to them play, and I'm going, fair. Lucky bastard. But it wasn't like he was shooting for it. It just ended up being like that.
Yeah. Need to race a school bus. Hello, Kim. How you doing? She's with Buff right now, watching. They had their
Kowalski
very
Chargers.
first live
Good night.
Tuesday night. They had their very first live the other night on Tuesday, and it sounds like they're going to have more again. So, Big Black Kings, my favorite car of all time, my favorite movie of all time is Vanishing Point. And
Vanishing
I recently read an article because there was 4 cars in that. 3 of them were 383 4-speed cars with like 323 gears, and then one of them was a 440 410 gears. And they actually crushed all those cars after they made the movie. Obviously, at the ending scene, the car they used was a Camaro, but I did not know
God.
they had crushed those. Yeah,
I don't
it's like, oh
understand
man.
that. Hollywood doesn't make any sense.
Well, what's funny is I'm not trying to get political here, but I'll get political here. The scene where Super Soul is talking about the last true American hero and freedom. Boy, like you listen to that rings so clear to today. Like you could literally play that on the airwaves now and you would think the guy was talking about today.
There are just some things that just always will resonate with people.
Oh, I love that movie. That movie is just freaking awesome. That would be so fun to have that car and just go across country.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, look at Two-Lane Blacktop. They race across the nation.
Yeah. And Andy Wood, I think it was, that made a good point in a live, was talking about like the very first Dragon Drive, and that's true.
I totally agree. As a matter of fact, he's the one that opened my eyes to the whole thing.
Yeah, that was a great movie. And the thing is you'll never find that soundtrack, because that soundtrack, like the music they used, was never authorized to be used. But that movie is so good. And I watched a documentary on it, and there's so many scenes in that movie that were just ad-libbed. Believe it or not. The scene where they're at a gas station and he's talking about watching a grasshopper screw, that was because he was a little bit under the influence of stuff and just started talking and rambling. Yeah, there's some speculation on that. It's supposed to be Hemi 4-speed, and there's one scene where they talk about it being supercharged, but yeah, it wasn't. The reason they used the 383 cars is because they were a taller gear and they use those for the high speed, but the 410, 440 car was used for the slower, low speed, doing burnouts, flying around type stuff. But man, that would be such a cool car. It would be cool to take that car, put in like a Tremec 5-speed or 6-speed, build like a stroker, but make it look stock. 4-wheel disc brakes, rack and pinion, but make it look totally stock, but the most handling son of a bitch ever, and just go. I absolutely love that movie.
The E in
Super
E-Body
Soul
stands for expensive, though.
It is, and I know where there is a true RT 440 4-speed numbers matching car that's been in a million pieces forever, just sitting.
I know.
And yes, the price is really good, but it's not in my price range. Like the price is really good, like really good. I would have to get rid of my car and not do the dragster if I was to do that. It's a catch-22. Like, I've gone over this with my dad a lot, and it's like, because he knows I want this car, but I can't afford it. And I'm like, he's like, what would you have to do to get it? I'm like, I'd have to sell my car. I wouldn't be able to build a dragster, sell all my other vintage speed parts off, buy it, and then spend probably 2 years of doing what I'd want with it. And I know the purists would be so mad at me because it's a real plum crazy RT. I absolutely hate plum crazy purple. I fucking hate that color. I know the Mopar guys probably are going to send a JDAM to my house right now, but I don't care. I would, if I had the money to buy that car, it would be white. It would be it would be Kowalski.
Be Kowalski.
Yeah.
That white is a pretty good look.
Mm-hmm. And Lars has a good point. I had to explain to a buddy of mine that Audio Slave Show Me How to Live is an homage to Vanishing Point. Yeah. And if you ever seen the movie Death Proof, it has an homage to all those old car movies. And, same thing in that movie, too. And that's also where the duck is.
Car is so badass as a Mopar guy. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
How do you go wrong with a second generation Charger? Ooh.
You can't.
Jeffy's getting good stuff.
Yeah, it's the duck. It's Dusty. The duck is Dusty.
Ooh.
It's Dusty.
You can see, hey, you can pop that in the box and send it with that coat right up to my house, guy.
But here's the other one.
Chop truck, just perfect.
It's this one's going on the dragster. It's the Roadrunner driving a rocket.
I happen to have that very same hood ornament, Mr. Two Hack.
Yes, I'm going to be painting that one up.
Oh, you're gonna paint it up? I'm gonna leave mine. Cool.
Yeah, I'm gonna paint it up and I'm gonna put it on my dragster as a joke because I have someone called me out to race my dragster. Yeah, Chris Mills from Busted Radio Garage. He called me out because he's gonna do a front engine dragster, and boy, I've been talking to him about it. Man, he's got some plans for that, like a blown Hemi. And it's like,
yeah.
Yes, DDG. Yes, Brian. Did you know Hulk is a Mopar guy? Yes. Yeah. I mean, he's Hulk Hogan. He's America, so of course he's going to want that.
Do you guys remember the Hulk Hogan quote unquote hot dog Viper?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the red Viper with the yellow wheels and the yellow accents. And
Junkyard D, you have to earn that duck. Yep, you got to break.
Yeah, I got to break.
The question is not when he's going to stop, but who's going to stop him. Exactly.
That's right.
That movie, and unfortunately, they ruined the movie. Not the movie, but they did that recreation of it.
Naked chick in the movie. Yes, naked chick on the motorcycle.
Yeah, but then they did the recreation in the 90s.
Oh yeah,
Vanishing Point.
Wasn't
that
Jason
was just
Priestley
garbage.
In that movie or some junk?
I think so, and it was a totally different story. It was dumbed down for TV, and it was just like, ugh.
Oh yeah.
But I tell you what, I am gonna wrap this live up because I do got to get up early, even though I'm off. Doug, I will send you some cool pictures of some stuff tomorrow, and I'm gonna go inside and I'm gonna finish up my night and go to bed.
Cool.
Hope everyone has a great night.
Two Hacks.
Yep.
Thanks for having me on. Awesome talking with everyone tonight. See ya.
So you guys have a good night. Later.